Chapter 2297. After knowing the great origin of Yangchun, the higher-ups of the major sect seemed to be happy, especially those sect that maintained a good relationship with Yangchun before. They were even happier. Not to mention the cooperation in alchemy, just the fact that an expert who could control the immortal beheading stage was in their camp was enough to give everyone a little more confidence in the future battle. Only Sect Master Wu of the Profound Heaven Sect seemed unhappy. He had only been the Sect Master for a few days, but he inexplicably wanted to seize Chunyang Palace and Yangchen's wealth, and sent people to attack Chunyang Palace. Later, in order to clean up the disobedient disciples, he pushed the Profound Heaven Sect to the opposite of Chunyang Palace. But who could be blamed for this? At that time, it was not Sect Master Wu who was tempted by Yangchen's wealth, but Lin Zongxuan and Zhou Sheng. But now, it was Sect Master Wu who had to bear the consequences. Through the matter of Tao Junqi giving Zhou Sheng the 7 Revolution medicinal pill, it already showed that Yangchun was very afraid of Grandmaster Zhou Sheng, so he deliberately fawned on him. Grandmaster Zhou Sheng was also very satisfied. Then the only unlucky person seemed to be Sect Master Wu. Even the Heavenly Dipper elders were very happy. They had long known that Yangchun was the executioner of the immortal beheading stage, but they didn't say it because of the sect rules. Now that Grandmaster Zhou Sheng and the others had guessed it, it showed that Yangchun did not hide it from them from the beginning. They were even more happy that Yangchun had recovered a certain powerful ability of the immortal beheading stage from the Valley of No Return, which was a great thing for them. There was another sect that was not very happy. It was the Black Tortoise Academy. Previously, one of their elders wanted to forcefully invite Yangchun and Tao Junqi for some reason, but he was easily subdued by Yangchun. Now that they knew the origin of Yangchun, it also caused a quarrel among them. The specific results of the quarrel were unknown to outsiders, but it was true that there had been a change in the core higher-ups of the Black Tortoise Academy. Amidst the clamor from all sides, the mysterious Heaven Sect came forward and invited the representatives of all the sect to meet in secret to discuss the final battle against the Zhao family. At this point, the Zhao family and the other major sect's trump cards were basically all revealed. It was already the point of a decisive battle. With the addition of Yangchen's family, the cultivators of the spirit realm clearly had an advantage in terms of high-end forces. It was time to launch a decisive battle. On the Zhao family side, the sudden refinement of the devil realm had already affected the final arrangements of the Zhao family. For the Zhao family, they had to put down everything they were doing and settle the spirit realm as quickly as possible. They had to completely quell all of the disturbances before investigating what went wrong in the Elder Devil realm. Objectively speaking, both sides had a reason to fight to the death. Under the circumstances where neither side knew the other's condition, both sides were prepared to fight to the death. Up until now, the various sects in the spiritual realm had not completely eliminated all of the Zhao family spies. In this regard, the cultivators were at a great disadvantage. Therefore, the matter of the decisive battle could only be discussed in some secret places. In order to ensure that some people with bad intentions would not leak the news, Zhou Sheng of the Mysterious Heaven Sect personally went out this time. Together with the Golden Immortals of the other sect in the mortal world, they were responsible for the safety of the meeting. The representatives of the super sect were not the only ones who came to the meeting. The first-rate sect, such as the Chunyang Palace, had sent 1 or 2 senior executives who could be in charge of matters to participate. As for the ordinary second-rate and third-rate sect, a dozen or so sect jointly elected a representative to participate. Of course, the sect that was qualified to come was basically a sect with a mysterious immortal elder in the sect. The ordinary small sect with only a few disciples was not qualified to participate in such a thing. On the eve of the decisive battle, it was very normal for the Mysterious Heaven Sect to arrange such a meeting for a long time. Moreover, because the representatives of the ordinary sect were invited, it could be considered as giving enough face to the ordinary sect. This was a remedial action made by Sect Master Wu after reviewing his previous gains and losses. Regardless of whether it was effective or not, at least his attitude was on this side. Of course, It was also because Sect Master Wu was afraid that in the real decisive battle, he would be dragged down by the cultivators of the sect because of a little attitude problem. There were all kinds of thoughts. The location was chosen at the edge of the mysterious Heaven sect's territory near the Blue Cloud sect. There was a natural mountain range, and there was a relatively hidden valley in the mountain range. After the people of the mysterious Heaven sect transformed the valley, it became a spacious and hidden meeting place. The representatives of the various sects arrived one after another. Everyone also knew that the matter discussed this time was of great importance, so they did not speak easily. They were only waiting for the representatives of the super sect who had the most right to speak. The super sect was more concerned about this matter, and those who came were the sect masters of the major sects. Even those who came from the first-rate sect were the core higher-ups who could directly make decisions on the affairs of the sect. As long as they reached an agreement, they would immediately carry it out. The representative sent by the Chunyang Palace was directly Yang Chun. Zhou Sheng and the other 6 or 7 golden immortal experts from the lower realm were in several corners, each in charge of a direction, protecting all the cultivators in the entire valley. Their responsibility was to protect the safety of the representatives present, and, on the other hand, to keep a lookout for everyone, so that no spies of the Zhao family would pry into the contents of the meeting. When the representatives of the various sects arrived, the disciples of the mysterious Heaven sect were responsible for leading them to the corresponding positions. In order to prevent any discord or fight among the parties because of some ridiculous reasons, the mysterious Heaven sect deliberately divided the entire venue into several areas for the Tao, Demon, and Rogue Cultivators Alliance. Different sects were led to their respective areas. This was also to minimize the chances of conflict between everyone as much as possible. Even if they all belonged to the same Tao or Demon sect, there were still some conflicts between some sects in private. However, on this occasion, no matter how big the hatred was, it had to be put away first. Even if it was the hatred of killing one's father or stealing one's wife, they had to obediently discuss the decisive battle with the Zhao family on the surface. Otherwise, they would directly become enemies with the major sect groups. According to reason, on such an occasion, there should be no accidents. The protection force of several sect groups was by no means ordinary. However, an accident happened when the representatives of all parties had basically arrived. The source of the accident was none other than Yang Lan, who was already in the Zhao family. During the hundreds of years that Yang Chun had been in seclusion, Yang Lan had not been idle. With the help of the Zhao family's power, he had forcibly improved his cultivation. Over the years, he had also used the method he used to deal with Yang Chun to capture a lot of puppets. After experiencing a narrow escape from death, Yang Lan had also learned to be smart. He would only make a move when he was absolutely sure, and he would never appear easily. Even if he had already controlled the other party, he would not let the other party make a move. Except for Yang Lan himself, no one knew that they had become Yang Lan's toys. Chapter 2298. Not everyone has an abnormal spiritual awareness like Yang Chun, so these puppets have been controlled by Yang Lan and will not be used easily. But it was obvious that there was a very good opportunity in front of them. Yang Lan had long planned to destroy the profound Heaven sect, and now he finally waited for the right time to start. The person who made the move was someone that all the cultivators did not expect, the current sect master of the Black Tortoise Academy. As the sect master of a super sect, he always had some privileges that were superior to other sects. Not to mention sitting in the center, he was basically close to Zhou Sheng. No one would guard against the sect master of a super sect at the meeting on the eve of the decisive battle. By this time, the top leaders of the sect had already found out many spies, and it was basically impossible for them to be wary of anything else. This was especially the case for the Black Tortoise Academy. Not to mention that everything was normal before. The sect also had a golden immortal who actively participated in the battle in the demon realm. In this case, who would suspect that the sect master of the Black Tortoise Academy was a spy of the Zhao family? But it happened like this, without warning. The sect master of the Black Tortoise Academy did not directly target the people around him, but used the same method that Yang Lan used to control Yang Chun, but aimed at Zhou Sheng. This method was executed without warning, and even if it was the target, few people could detect it. However, there was a premise. That was, the other party's spiritual awareness cultivation would not be stronger than Yanglan's. Otherwise, it would be discovered immediately. Zhou Sheng was a great principal golden immortal, and his spiritual awareness cultivation was many times higher than Yanglan's. As soon as the sect master of the Black Tortoise Academy made a move, he immediately discovered that this guy was playing tricks, and his spiritual awareness began to fight back mercilessly. The counterattack of a great principal golden immortal was so strong that even if it was separated by the sect master of the Black Tortoise Academy, Yanglan also suffered a lot. However, since Yanglan dared to provoke Zhou Sheng like this and knew that Zhou Sheng was a great principal golden immortal, he had already expected all this. The next moment, among the thousands of people on the scene, at least hundreds of them launched an attack on Zhou Sheng. Of course, the method was the same as the sect master of the Black Tortoise Academy. They all launched spiritual awareness attacks, trying to use the power of hundreds of cultivators to forcibly control a great principal golden immortal puppet. Zhou Sheng was furious. He had never been humiliated like this ever since he came to the spirit realm from the immortal world. A group of fellows whose cultivation base was only at the intermediate Xian immortal stage and the lowest was only at the heavenly immortal stage actually wanted to besiege a perfected golden immortal like him. Even when he fought the Zhao family fiercely, the Zhao family didn't dare to underestimate him like this. Every time, they would send at least a few peak golden immortal experts to restrain him. That's right, it was just restraining him. The Zhao clan did not dare to say that they would definitely be able to defeat him. Only the last Dragon Clan expert was able to injure Zhou Sheng. Even the Zhao clan valued him so much, but these guys in front of him actually dared to not put him in their eyes. After descending to the lower realm, Zhou Sheng's greatest growth was not in cultivation, nor in seniority, but in temperament. They would kill at the slightest disagreement. Now that these guys were causing trouble on such an occasion, it was obvious that they didn't take him seriously. Before, Zhou Sheng was still fighting back with his spiritual consciousness, but this time, he directly made his move. Without warning, at least under the premise that no one else felt any signs, Profound Heaven Sect's Grand Elder, Zhou Sheng suddenly made his move. As soon as he made his move, he caught the Black Tortoise Academy's sect master in his hand. The next moment, the Black Tortoise Academy's sect master's head turned into a pile of broken tofu. There really was no sign at all. With Yanglan's cultivation and various improvements over the past hundreds of years, the attack against spiritual consciousness did not show any outward signs. Otherwise, Yanglan would not have secretly manipulated so many people for hundreds of years without being discovered. Killing the Black Tortoise Academy's sect master was not the end of it. Next, Zhou Sheng's target was directly aimed at the cultivators who were still attacking him. At this moment, in Zhou Sheng's eyes, there was no longer any negotiation. There was only the difference between the enemies who attacked him and his own people who did not attack him. Anyone who dared to attack him was an enemy. In the eyes of Zhou Sheng, a mere few hundred Xian immortal and heavenly immortal enemies were not a threat at all. He could almost destroy a few of them with just a thought. In just a few breaths, the entire valley had turned into a bloody scene. Although Zhou Sheng's definition of an enemy was very clear, the surrounding representatives who came to participate in the conference did not know what Zhou Sheng's standard was. As soon as they saw Zhou Sheng rushing over with a face full of killing intent, many of the representatives who had nothing to do with this matter couldn't help but reveal their own magic treasures in a panic. They began to attack Zhou Sheng, who was killing people in a frenzy like a fiend. In the eyes of these representatives, they were protecting themselves, but in Zhou Sheng's eyes, this was a challenge to his dignity. These people were enemies. There was only one way for Zhou Sheng to deal with enemies, and that was to kill them all. He did not even need to take out his life-flying sword. He just greeted them with his fists and legs and smashed these ants who dare to provoke him, Zhou Sheng, into meat paste. Boom, boom, boom. After a few loud sounds, several flowers made of blood bloomed in the valley. Under this series of attacks, hundreds of people were directly turned into meat paste. Everyone was shocked by this bloody scene. Zhou Sheng of the Profound Heaven sect suddenly went crazy and started killing people at the beginning of the conference. What was going on? Could it be that the conference organized by the Profound Heaven sect was simply a trap? The first to react were the golden immortal experts from the lower realm. They did not see the scene of the Black Tortoise Academy's sect master making a move. Like everyone else, they only saw Zhou Sheng killing people mercilessly. These few experts reacted the quickest and made a prompt decision. First, they grabbed the sect leaders of the super sects in the center, then the representatives of the first-rate sects that were closer to them. At this time, they could not care about anything else. They had to protect the most important group of people to leave here safely. Speaking of which, Zhou Sheng still had principles when he made a move. He would not make a move against those who did not attack him. With the means of a dignified Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, he really did this. However, he knew this, but others did not. Seeing the bloody scene, the cultivators who did not have the protection of experts immediately cried out in panic and began to flee in all directions. In the face of such irresistible danger, even celestial immortal cultivators behaved no differently from ordinary cultivators. By the time Zhou Sheng killed all the people who dared to attack him, there were no other cultivators left in this valley. Even the disciples of the Profound Heaven sect were frightened by this sudden ferocity and ran away without a trace. The first thought in the minds of the sect masters of the super sect, who escaped under the protection of the golden immortal experts from the lower realm, was that the Profound Heaven sect had attacked them in this situation. Chapter 2299. This was a very serious situation, so serious that all the previous efforts to fight against the Zhao family had been in vain. Zhou Sheng was a great principal golden immortal sent by the Profound Heaven sect to the lower realm. His every move represented the will of the Profound Heaven sect even more than Sect Master Wu. Zhou Sheng attacked all the sect members for no reason, which was beyond the expectations of all the sect members. No matter what Zhou Sheng's reason was, he attacked without explanation or excuse. Even if it was out of justice, he would still be regarded as arrogant and despotic. What's more, the previous arrogance of the Profound Heaven sect had already made many sect members unable to bear it. They only endured it because they were fighting against the Zhao family together. Now, Zhou Sheng's actions had obviously become the last straw that broke the camel's back. The image of the Profound Heaven sect in the hearts of most sect members collapsed, and they once again became the public enemy of the world like the mortal Teishaman. The first thing all the sect representatives did after escaping was to quickly flee in all directions, trying to escape from the territory of the Profound Heaven sect before they were chased by the Profound Heaven sect. The sect masters of the super sect members who were protected by golden immortal experts also rushed to the Blue Cloud sect as fast as they could, as if they were facing a great enemy. While they were still on the way to escape, the various parties had already begun to consider how to deal with the Profound Heaven sect. Sect Master Wu stared blankly at the bloody scene that had happened before, and his mind was in a mess. He couldn't understand what Grandmaster Zhou Sheng was doing. Why did he kick the Profound Heaven sect down to hell when it was about to reach its most glorious moment? Could it be that Grandmaster Zhou Sheng was no longer the original Grandmaster Zhou Sheng? As soon as this terrifying thought appeared, Sect Master Wu didn't dare to think further. However, Sect Master Wu had to clean up the mess in front of him. No matter what Grandmaster Zhou Sheng did, it would be blamed on the Profound Heaven sect, and Sect Master Wu had to deal with the aftermath. Grandmaster, why is this happening? Before dealing with the aftermath, Sect Master Wu couldn't help but ask. He wanted to know why Grandmaster Zhou Sheng went crazy. Didn't you see that they attacked me? Zhou Sheng clearly felt the various puzzlement, confusion, and excitement in the eyes of the Profound Heaven sect disciples who stayed here. Then, Zhou Sheng answered with a very dissatisfied tone. Sect Master Wu actually dared to use an interrogative tone to speak to him. Why didn't he think about how he became the sect master? Attack. Not only Gate Master Wu, but even the other Profound Heaven sect disciples had a puzzled expression on their faces. Everyone looked at each other in dismay. They were all thinking the same thing. Had Grandmaster Zhou Sheng gone mad? If he wasn't crazy, why would he be hallucinating? There were so many people present, but not a single one of them had seen any signs of those people attacking him. Their divine senses hadn't detected anything strange either, so why would Ancestor Zhou Sheng feel that those people were attacking him? This was also the brilliance of Yang Lan's shot this time. After experiencing a near-death experience in the Xiantian sect, Yang Lan's state of mind and the Great Free Demon Heart Sutra have made breakthroughs. Now that the Great Free Demon Heart Sutra has been used, except for people like Yang Chun and Zhou Sheng, other people could not detect it at all. With so many puppets, Yang Lan could easily know the movements of the major sect. This timing was carefully chosen by him to target Zhou Sheng. Whether it was successful or not, it would only be good for Yang Lan. If he could successfully control Zhou Sheng, then Yang Lan would definitely have a big advantage. A great principal golden immortal puppet was enough for Yang Lan to do anything he wanted in the spiritual realm. Even if he couldn't control Zhou Sheng and was detected by Zhou Sheng, with Yang Lan's observation of Zhou Sheng's performance in the demon realm for so many years, Zhou Sheng would definitely make a move. Yang Lan had analyzed Zhou Sheng's character. He and Yang Chun clearly understood that Zhou Sheng, a great principal golden immortal, would definitely swell up when he arrived in the spiritual realm. His self-confidence, temper, and way of doing things would never care about what others thought. If he thought that someone had offended him, he would never explain first before making a move. As long as Zhou Sheng made a move, the representatives of the various sects who were not attacked would never be indifferent to the scene where hundreds of people were killed. They would definitely have fear and resentment towards the profound heaven sect from the bottom of their hearts. As Yang Lan expected, Zhou Sheng directly made a move without any explanation. He even made a move against the representatives of the sect who misunderstood Zhou Sheng's actions. This time, Zhou Sheng's behavior was like yellow mud falling into his crotch. It was not shit, but shit. Of course, with your cultivation, you can't find the abnormality of those guys. Zhou Sheng certainly didn't think that he had done anything wrong, but he also wouldn't let everyone think that he was the kind of madman who killed for no reason. He gave a rare explanation. These guys used a very covert divine sense attack, and there were hundreds of them. The first person I attacked was the sect master of the Black Tortoise Academy. Zhou Sheng went on to say, "Don't tell me that there is definitely no problem with the Black Tortoise Academy. Think about why the elders of the Black Tortoise Academy had to forcibly take Master Yang away not long ago. There must be a problem with the Black Tortoise Academy." This was a detail worth paying attention to. Thinking about it carefully, even if there was no definite evidence, it was more or less certain that there must be an unknown conspiracy. However, if the disciples of the profound heaven sect could recognize Ancestor Zhou Sheng's words, why would other sect do it? Is it because your cultivation is high? Or is it because of the overbearing behavior of the profound heaven sect? If Zhou Sheng endured it and used some clever way to clearly lead those guys out one by one, then there would naturally be no worries. However, the problem was that Zhou Sheng wasn't a person who would talk reason first, so misunderstandings were inevitable. At this point, no matter what the reason was, Sect Master Wu could only admit it for now. The first step to deal with the aftermath was to immediately send representatives to each sect and explain to each sect. They had to make everyone forget their past grievances before they became the public enemy of the world. Otherwise, there would be big trouble. Even if it was the profound heaven sect on one side, it would become the mortal enemy of all the major sect, and on the other side, it would become the mortal enemy of the Zhao family. Sect Master Wu now truly experienced the helplessness of the Taishamen in the mortal world when they were forced to hide in the profound heaven sect's demon sealing array by all the sects in the world. There was bitterness in their hearts that they couldn't speak of, but others didn't understand and regarded the profound heaven sect as their enemy. What should they do? The decisive battle had already become a joke, and no one mentioned it again. Sect Master Wu and Ancestor Zhou Sheng quickly rushed back to the profound heaven sect. They had to find more evidence as soon as possible in order to restore the image of the profound heaven sect in everyone's hearts. It doesn't matter. Zhou Sheng still had some confidence. I have cooperated with the experts from the lower realm of those super sect, so they should also know my character. At that time, those experts from the lower realm might not have even the slightest bit of awareness. It's better to first send someone over to communicate with them. Chapter 2300. On this side, the mysterious heaven sect was extremely nervous and wanted to explain. The representatives of the various sect were shocked and angry. They were even more afraid that the mysterious heaven sect was taking the opportunity to take revenge on the mortal world. For some reason that could not be said, both sides formed an opposition that no one wanted to see. However, as Zhou Sheng said, the super sect, especially the super sect with golden immortals from the lower realm, were relatively restrained. Although Yanglan's puppets were indeed silent, it was not without the slightest sign. It was just that the situation was urgent at that time, so the golden immortals from the lower realm did not see it. Now that they had returned to the safe zone and carefully thought about the situation at that time, there were indeed many unreasonable things. Vaguely, these experts also sensed that there was indeed something wrong with those guys who were killed by Zhou Sheng at that time. They were afraid that there was something hidden in this. In addition, what was the starting point for the mysterious heaven sect to do this? What benefits could they get in the end? From this perspective, Zhou Sheng's behavior was simply unreasonable. Perhaps this was another conspiracy of the Zhao family to divide and destroy the cooperation between the sect that had been formed with great difficulty. However, they felt that it was only these few super sect that were suspicious. At most, they could influence the other super sect. However, these golden immortal experts only felt that way and did not have any real evidence. Before they had further evidence, they would not take the initiative to jump out and immediately reconcile with the mysterious heaven sect. At most, they would not interact with each other for the time being, and they would not take the initiative to pressure the mysterious heaven sect. They would quietly wait for the mysterious heaven sect to find conclusive evidence. Although the relationship between the mysterious heaven sect and the Zhao family was unclear at this time, these super sect were still willing to give the mysterious heaven sect a chance. The super sect was fine, but the ordinary sect whose sect master or representative had been killed was another matter. Everyone trusted the mysterious heaven sect, but a disciple of the mysterious heaven sect killed the representative of the mysterious heaven sect. No matter what, this debt must be settled. In particular, the cultivators who were killed had not shown any abnormalities for a long time and had always actively cooperated against the Zhao family. Even their participation in the meeting this time was because of this matter. However, when they went to the mysterious heaven sect, they were killed for no reason. Could it be that the mysterious heaven sect was in cahoots with the Zhao family? Yang Chen was the only one who didn't panic and leave calmly. Yang Chen's actions did not escape his monitoring, especially when so many people were used. The secrets inside were simply clear to Yang Chen. Yang Chen also admired Yang Lan's handwriting. He was willing to invest so many puppets that he had spent so much effort to obtain in one go. He was not afraid of losing them at all. Maybe it was really easy for these puppets to come. Yang Lan didn't treat them as people at all. As long as he could achieve his biggest goal, he would do anything, regardless of the cost. After all, the puppets that were being controlled were the decision-makers of some sect. When hundreds of them gathered together, they were not inferior to a super sect. But Yang Lan said to give up. From this point of view, Yang Lan could also be regarded as a decisive hero. But what was this guy trying to do by making such a ruckus at this time? Make the profound heaven sect the public enemy of the world again, and then everyone will attack them? If this was the case, Yang Lan's imagination of the other super sect was too simple. When it came to dealing with the Zhao family, those super sect would never act rashly to make their loved ones suffer and their enemies happy. As for those small sect that they hated, what could they do to the profound heaven sect? Yang Chen knew that Yang Lan, like himself, wanted to destroy the profound heaven sect. But this matter was so big, but it might not be able to achieve such an effect. It seemed that Yang Lan's gains were not worth the losses. With Yang Lan's character, he would not do this kind of thing easily. So what was Yang Lan's purpose? Yang Chen's mind began to turn. Let's start with the simplest analysis. How could this matter change the profound heaven sect? Was it just to make the negotiations with the spiritual realm sect fail, and then make a move? This was very possible. On the way back to Chunyang Palace with the shuttle, Yang Chen kept thinking about this problem. Yang Chen didn't get much useful information from Yang Lan's mind, so he could only analyze it himself. The spiritual realm sect failed, but the Zhao family could take the initiative. Perhaps this was Yang Lan's biggest purpose. In other words, the Zhao family was likely to launch a large-scale attack in the near future. After taking a sip of the strongest wine brewed by Sun Qingxue, Yang Chen's mind was on fire. Suddenly, a word jumped into Yang Chen's mind. Isolated. The profound heaven sect was isolated. No matter what the final outcome of the matter was, the profound heaven sect was isolated by the other sect in the spiritual realm. At this time, if something suddenly happened to the profound heaven sect and they asked for help everywhere, the other sect would never lend a helping hand. They would only stand by and watch. Putting himself in the shoes of Yang Lan or the decision-maker of the Zhao family, Yang Chen immediately realized that now was the best time to attack the profound heaven sect. The profound heaven sect was probably the best target for the Zhao family. They were able to seriously injure Zhou Sheng last time. This time, as long as that expert took action, he could do the same. The sudden attack on the profound heaven sect would cause the profound heaven sect to be distracted and caught off guard. It was likely that the Zhao family would destroy it in one fell swoop. After destroying the profound heaven sect, the Zhao family would form an unstoppable situation. It would be easier to conquer the other sect. Even if they couldn't destroy the profound heaven sect, destroying the mountain gate of the profound heaven sect and forcing the profound heaven sect to flee would be a big blow to the morale of the spiritual realm sect. The number one sect in the spiritual realm, the leader of the Dao sect, and the vanguard of the resistance against the Zhao family were chased like stray dogs. Even if the other sects reacted, it would be too late. At that time, the Zhao family could rely on the high morale of destroying the profound heaven sect or the mountain gate of the profound heaven sect to force the major sects into a very weak position. In addition, the sect master of the Black Tortoise Academy had become Yang Lan's puppet. It was likely that the Black Tortoise Academy would also be unknowingly controlled by the Zhao family. When all parties were working hard, they would betray them again. If this happened a few times in a row, how could the cultivators of the spiritual realm have the strength to fight back? Under the suspicion of everyone, they would soon become a plate of loose sand and be divided by the Zhao family. At the thought of this, Yang Chen suddenly became nervous. He wanted to destroy the profound heaven sect, but he didn't want such a scene to happen. Right now, the profound heaven sect must be the first target of the Zhao family. There was only Zhou Sheng. Without external help, the profound heaven sect would be in danger. The sunset cliff was right in front of him. Yang Chen no longer cared about anything else. The flying shuttle quickly rushed in and went straight to the Wanbao Tower. Not long after, Yang Chen left quickly again and went straight to the profound heaven sect. Dozens of figures flew out of the Wanbao Tower and headed in the direction of the super sect. Chapter 23:01. Yang Chen used his fastest speed this time. He didn't hide his whereabouts along the way and moved as fast as lightning. Occasionally, when the cultivators saw Yang Chen's appearance, they were all confused. They didn't know what Yang Chen was going to do. The mysterious Heaven Dark Sea shuttle had almost become Yang Chen's symbol. Seeing the speed of this magic treasure from afar, it should be Yang Chen. Could it be that there was another expert chasing after Master Yang? It had to be known that Yang Chen had experienced this when he was in the mortal world. At that time, Luo Yuan, who was in the late Mayana realm, was chasing Yang Chen, who was in the Foundation Establishment realm. However, he was killed by Yang Chen's magic treasure. This time, Grandmaster Yang's speed was so fast. Could it be that he was using this trick again? When they thought that there might be a strong person who made Master Yang Chen Yang have to run away, the first reaction of many cultivators was to avoid subconsciously so as not to be caught in the crossfire. Some people chose to stand by and watch. When others were being chased, as long as the person chasing them wasn't stupid, they generally wouldn't provoke a powerhouse they met on the road. Regardless of whether they killed the person or not, they would inevitably be delayed and delay their plan to kill Yangchun. Another part of him felt that wealth came from danger. No matter who was chasing Master Yang, as long as he could help Master Yang block a little, it would be a great favor. In the future, if Master Yang managed to escape, he would definitely be greatly rewarded. However, no matter how the cultivators on the road behaved, Yangchun simply ignored them and flew straight toward the mysterious Heaven Sect's territory. The cultivators on the road waited for a while and didn't see any powerhouses chasing them. They realized that things were not as they had imagined. But why was Grandmaster Yang rushing to the mysterious Heaven Sect in such a hurry? What happened in the valley had almost spread throughout the spiritual world. The entire mysterious Heaven Sect had almost become the public enemy of the spiritual world. Who would dare to appear around the mysterious Heaven Sect now? Fortunately, the disciples of the mysterious Heaven Sect had all returned to the mysterious Heaven Sect after the incident. Otherwise, they would have been attacked by some angry people. The closer they got to Black Heaven Sect's territory, the more Yangchun felt that something was wrong. Along the way, he did not see a single disciple of the Black Heaven Sect. This was simply unbelievable in the territory of the Tao Sect. In the past, you could see one or a few profound Heaven Sect disciples flaunting their prowess in this kind of place. The speed of Yangchun's mysterious Sky Darcy shuttle was very fast, but even so, it would take more than 3 months to get from the valley to the Sunset Rock and then back to the mysterious Sky Sect. This was the result of Yangchun using the maximum speed to catch up in the late stage. 3 months was enough for many things to happen. In front of them was the territory of the mysterious Heaven Sect, less than 4 hours away from the valley. In another 10 days or so, they would arrive at the mysterious Heaven Sect. It had to be said that in terms of the size of the territory, the mysterious Heaven Sect alone was 100 times larger than the Chunyang Palace. After Yangchun patiently rushed forward for another 7 or 8 days, he finally found something unusual. Everything here looked normal, but for an expert like Yangchun, whose divine sense had reached the late stage of almighty Immortal, it was easy to see through the mystery. Everything he saw in front of him was a disguise of the illusory array. The range of this illusory array was at least tens of thousands of miles. In the illusory array, there was an aura that Yangchun was familiar with. It had the same effect as old highs, covering up everything that had happened here. The powerful divine sense allowed Yangchun to see the real scene through all the illusions. Under the seemingly normal scenery, there was a devastated land, as if thousands of Xian immortal experts had attacked this land together. In the direction of the original mysterious Heaven Sect, there were still fierce fluctuations coming. It seemed that the battle was still very fierce. Sure enough, after completely isolating the mysterious Heaven Sect, they launched a sudden attack while the mysterious Heaven Sect was busy explaining to everyone. At this time, except for those who were sent out to handle foreign affairs, the other disciples must have obediently retreated back to the sect in order to avoid causing misunderstandings. The mysterious Heaven Sect claimed to be the #1 sect in Tao sects, but the strength of the mysterious Heaven Sect alone was not on the same level as the Zhao family. Whether it was in terms of high-end combat power or the lowest level of disciples, whether it was in terms of quantity or quality, they were far inferior. The Black Heaven Sect alone would not be able to contend against the Zhao family. In particular, the Zhao family had chosen this timing to deal a heavy blow to the morale of the cultivators in the spiritual realm. They had mobilized all their experts, so it was already very difficult for the Black Heaven Sect to last until now. A few thousand kilometers ahead, there was another large formation. Yangchun was very familiar with this formation. It was the Dragon Trapping Formation. Back then, Yangchun's disciples, Mu Bo and Yi Yu, were trapped in this formation. If it wasn't for Yangchun's help, they wouldn't have had the chance to escape at all. Now that the cultivators trapped were from the mysterious Heaven Sect, it could be said that the Zhao family had wrapped them up like dumplings. Not a single one of them had escaped. However, the mysterious Heaven Sect had dominated the spiritual realm for so many years, and they were not easy to deal with. Even if the Zhao family sent out all their elites, it would not be easy to destroy the mysterious Heaven Sect in a short period of time. The mysterious Heaven Sect still had Zhou Sheng and a large number of Xian Immortal Elders. Even though Sect Master Wu had been purged, there was still a considerable number of experts in the mysterious Heaven Sect. This was also one of the reasons why the mysterious Heaven Sect was able to hold on until now. When Yang Chen rushed into the dragon trapping formation, the first thing that Yang Chen's divine sense detected was the exhausted Zhou Sheng and the Heavenly Dipper Elders, who had lost more than half of their strength. Zhou Sheng was being besieged. Several golden immortal cultivators were surrounding Zhou Sheng and attacking him fiercely. At the same time, Yang Chen also sensed a powerful dragon aura. It must be the dragon expert from the Zhao family, the one who had seriously injured Zhou Sheng last time. As for the Heavenly Dipper Elders, they were using the incomplete Heavenly Dipper formation to protect the last core area of the mysterious Heaven Sect. Needless to say, Sect Master Wu was definitely in that core area. The main task of the Heavenly Dipper Elders was to protect the safety of the previous Sect Master. Even if these veteran Xian Immortal experts were not satisfied with Sect Master Wu, they were loyal to the mysterious Heaven Sect and would not give up their duty. But now, the situation of the Heavenly Dipper Elders was really worrying. In addition to the hundreds of Xian Immortal experts surrounding them, there were also 2 Golden Immortal experts. To be able to hold on until now, they were almost exhausted. Chapter 2302. In addition to these 2 most obvious and intense battles, there were also thousands of Xian Immortal experts scattered around the mysterious Heaven Sect. There were even more Heaven Immortal experts scattered around, and they were also fighting in a mess. The Zhao family obviously had the advantage in numbers. Whether it was the battle between Xian Immortal experts or Heaven Immortal experts, it was 2 against 1. The advantage was very obvious. Since they had successfully isolated the mysterious Heaven Sect and bought enough time, there was no need to rely on the lives of their own disciples to destroy the mysterious Heaven Sect. As long as the dragon trapping formation was set up, the people of the mysterious Heaven Sect would not be able to escape. Then, they could slowly let the Zhao family disciples enjoy the feeling of a cat and mouse game. When had the mysterious Heaven Sect ever been bullied like this? From the beginning to the end, the mysterious Heaven Sect had a lot of emergency measures, such as what to do if the sect was attacked, or what to do if the mysterious Heaven Sect was besieged like the Three River Alliance. They basically had a comprehensive response plan. However, in the face of the Zhao clan's method of boiling a frog in lukewarm water, relying on their advantage in numbers to exhaust the experts on their side bit by bit, they couldn't do anything even if they had the strength. This was very uncomfortable for the mysterious Heaven Sect, but for the Zhao family, it was a different feeling. On one hand, the feeling of constantly suppressing the experts of the mysterious Heaven Sect made all the participating disciples of the Zhao family extremely happy. On the other hand, this kind of fighting method almost didn't cause any damage. Not only was it bullying, but it was also a few against one. How long had it been since they felt so good? In recent years, the Zhao family's focus had been in the beast realm, so they didn't pay enough attention to the Zhao family's nest in the spiritual realm. As a result, they were suppressed by the major sect in the spiritual realm. Many hidden subsidiary sects have been dug out. Just this alone had cost them millions, and there were 3 super sects among them. It was only in the later stages that they slowly recovered. All the disciples of the Zhao family hated the mysterious Heaven Sect, which led the major sect in the spiritual realm to oppose the Zhao family. Now that they had a chance to vent all their depression, they naturally went too far. Previously, there were many times when they had the chance to kill the other party, but they purposely chose not to. They watched as the other party fled with all kinds of injuries, and the Zhao family disciples followed behind to enjoy the fun of chasing and killing them. Only when they were tired of playing the game of cat and mouse would they start killing, and then they would join in the battle to help their fellow disciples kill even more powerful opponents. Because of this, when Yangchen arrived, he saw that although it was a tragic scene, at least half of the mysterious Heaven Sect's experts were still alive. The mysterious sky nether sea shuttle cut into the dragon trapping array at a very high speed and was immediately discovered. All news about Yang Chun was the focus of the Zhao family. So when he appeared, the person in charge of the Zhao family immediately knew Yang Chen's identity. Kill. Finish this quickly. With the sudden intrusion of Yang Chun, the head of the Zhao family did not want to let his disciples waste any more opportunities. He very clearly issued an order to end the battle as soon as possible. Yang Chun found the inheritance of the Immortal beheading platform in the Valley of No Return, which was not a secret to the Zhao family. Yang Lan had already grasped the position of the sect master of the Black Tortoise Academy. A big shot of this level must know the inside story. If the sect master of the Black Tortoise Academy knew, it meant that Yang Lan knew. At the same time, the Zhao family also got the same exact information from other sect. Yang Chun was no longer a simple alchemist. No one knew how terrifying Yang Chun, who had obtained the inheritance of the Immortal Executioner platform, was. Everyone clearly knew that Yang Chun easily defeated a master in the middle Xian Immortal stage of the Black Tortoise Academy with one hand, plus several Xian Immortal level masters and Heaven Immortal level masters. The joint attack of these experts could not hurt Yang Chun at all. This made the Zhao family's evaluation of Yang Chun to at least the same position as those Golden Immortal experts. If a Golden Immortal expert suddenly came to the periphery and still played around like a cat toying with a mouse, then they must be tired of living. Therefore, the Zhao family master made a prompt decision and immediately ordered people to end the battle quickly. The Zhao family master's order was very fast. In the blink of an eye, most of the people from the Profound Heaven sect who were fighting on the scene suffered. They had already been attacked for many days and did not even have the time to recover. They were barely hanging on to their last breaths. Now that the other party had sped up their attacks, they could no longer hold on. In just a few breaths, hundreds of people had been decapitated. Yang Chun did not care about anything else and was not afraid of exposing his strength. Gao Yu, Gong Sunling, Tao Junki, Lin Jinyuan, Ao Lan, Ao Lai, and Long Quang were all released. They each chose a direction and began to kill the Zhao family experts present. Gao Yu, Gong Sunling, and Tao Junki followed Yang Chun. The other women had returned to the sect and had not yet returned. Although Yang Chun only dispatched a total of 8 people, including Yang Chun, each of these 8 was a master. They were all experienced masters who had fought in the demon realm. As soon as they made their move, the scene had a great change. Many of the Profound Heaven sect's experts died, but the disciples of the Zhao family basically had no chance to escape when they encountered Yang Chen's group of 8. The 8 of them rushed into the battle and soon killed more than 100 Zhao family disciples. It had to be said that the weakest of the Zhao family experts who participated in the battle were Heaven Immortals. In the previous battles, only a few dozen of them had suffered minor injuries. The most serious one had only lost 2 legs. With the limb regeneration pill that Yang Chun had sold, this was not a serious injury at all. But now, they had lost more than 100 people in just a few moves. The Zhao family's sense of self-satisfaction that everything was under control immediately disappeared without a trace. However, this kind of loss increased the hatred of the Zhao family. Those who were still far away attacked even more ruthlessly, and the casualties of the Profound Heaven sect increased. At this time, Yang Chun couldn't care about anything else. He led everyone to the core of the Profound Heaven sect. He believed that the lower generation disciples of the Profound Heaven sect must be hiding in the core caves of the Profound Heaven sect. If they couldn't escape from the Dragon Trap formation, then they must be there. No matter what, since Yang Chun was here, he couldn't let the Profound Heaven sect be left with nothing. Otherwise, wouldn't his plan to take over the Profound Heaven sect be ruined? It was really funny. Yang Chun, who wanted to destroy the Profound Heaven sect the most, was now sparing no effort to save the Profound Heaven sect. It had to be said that the world was fickle and it made people sigh. When Yang Chun attacked, he didn't forget to make a big scene to let Zhou Sheng and the Big Dipper elders know that they had reinforcements and could last longer. Zhou Sheng and the Big Dipper elders naturally noticed the movement here and knew that Yang Chun was rushing over. Zhou Xing didn't know what he was thinking, but the Big Dipper elders felt gratified. Chapter 2303. In this situation where the profound heaven sect had become a rat crossing the street, and everyone was shouting at them, how many sects that used to flatter and flatter the profound heaven sect did not appear? The only one that seemed to be rushing over to help was Yang Chun. Not only Yang Chun alone, but several of his women, as well as several supermasters, all did not hesitate to take action. Everyone's eyes were on them. It was obvious that other than Yang Chun, Gao Yu, Gong Sunling, and Tao Junqi, Lin Jingyuan, Ao Lan, and Quan Long were all golden immortal experts. Although Ao Lai was only a Xian immortal, his aura clearly had the aura of the Dragon Clan. Not only Ao Lai, but Ao Lan and Quan Long were also standard Dragon Clan experts. In other words, Yang Chun didn't know how many favors he had saved. Even when Sect Master Wu wanted to force him to persuade the Dragon Clan to fight against the Zhao family's Dragon Clan master, he didn't succeed. The favor he left behind was so easily used to rescue the profound heaven sect. That was a favor from the Dragon Clan. It was not a favor that could be casually made by a cat or dog. Originally, Yang Chun could have used these favors in a more beneficial place, but he did not hesitate to use them here. A friend in need is a friend indeed. What was a truly loyal disciple? This was it. Thinking of this, the Heavenly Dipper elders suddenly felt that everything they had done to cover up for Yang Chun was worth it. With Yang Chun as the arrowhead, Lin Jinyuan and Ao Lan as the wings, and the others in the center, they formed a small arrow formation. Yang Chun waved the beheading immortal saber and mercilessly cut any Zhao clan disciple in front of him into two pieces. Along the way, only the familiar words Yang Chun had shouted, "Every injustice has its perpetrator, every debt has its debtor," were left behind. The experts of the Zhao clan who did not block Yang Chun's path were blessed today. They had only heard of these 6 words from Yang Chun. Only those who were about to die would hear them. Those who could live would not have a chance. They did not expect to have such a feast for their ears today. Not only did they hear it, but they also survived. In the past, when they heard this story about Yang Chun, everyone treated it as a joke. But ever since they found out about Yang Chun's true background, those who knew about it no longer treated it as a joke. When the owner of the Immortal Beheading Platform said this to you, it was best to take it seriously, unless you were willing to use your own head as a sacrifice to the Immortal Beheading Platform. The team of 8 people rushed forward very quickly, and the Zhao family members in front of them dodged almost as fast as they could. It had to be said that the Zhao family's command during the siege of the mysterious Heaven Sect was like their own arms. Seeing Yang Chun's actions, they knew what he wanted to do. They didn't want to give Yang Chun too many chances. In just a short period of time, 90% of the Black Heaven Sect's experts who were besieged had been eliminated. They had been besieged by powerful forces, and they had wasted so many days of energy. It was an exaggeration to say that in the dragon trapping formation, those who weren't members of the Zhao family couldn't even absorb any spiritual power from the formation. They could only rely on the spirit stones they brought with them to absorb spiritual power. For the mysterious Heaven Sect, this was simply a disaster. The most difficult to deal with were not those Xian immortal experts, but Zhou Sheng and the Tiangang elders. There is no need to mention Zhou Sheng. In a one-on-one fight, no expert from the Zhao family could be compared to him, even the expert from the Dragon Clan who had seriously injured him. But now, the Zhao family had made it clear that they didn't want to have a fair duel with him. They wanted to bully him with numbers. If Lin Zongxuan was here, Zhou Sheng might be able to deal with them for a while. But now, it was impossible for him to block the attacks of more than a dozen golden immortal experts from the Zhao family and 1 expert from the Dragon Clan. These days, it wasn't the first time that Zhou Sheng had been injured. He had been injured at least 7 times, and each time, Zhou Sheng relied on the 7 Revolution Lingji Mushroom Jade Pill given by Tao Junqi to quickly heal him. And the price of his 7 injuries was that 6 golden immortal experts of the Zhao family were seriously injured and forced to retreat from the battle, and 1 golden immortal expert died on the spot. The death of 7 golden immortal experts was the biggest loss of the Zhao family apart from those Xian immortal experts. In the battle of ordinary Xian Immortal experts, the Zhao family almost didn't suffer any losses. But in the battle of the highest power, even if the Zhao family relied on numbers, the losses brought by Zhou Sheng alone were enough to make the Zhao family's heart ache. In the past, there was already a golden immortal expert who went to explore the secret of the Valley of No Return and never came back. Now, everyone knew that it was impossible to come out after entering the immortal beheading platform. In addition to the results of Zhou Sheng's battle in the demon realm and the golden immortal expert killed by Zhou Sheng, the Zhao family had lost at least 6 golden immortals. In front of Yangchun, there was basically no one who could withstand a single blow. The Zhao family's Xian immortal experts had long been warned to be careful of Yangchun. Now, under the command of the leader, they all retreated. However, there were 3 golden immortal experts who immediately rushed in this direction, intending to block Yangchun's group. Among the 8 people, only Lin Jingyuan was a golden immortal expert who had truly experienced the heavenly tribulation. Be it Ao Lan or Long Quang, they were only golden immortals from the spiritual realm. Innately, they were inferior to real golden immortals. Of course, the Zhao family's golden immortal experts could see this, so they sent 3 golden immortal experts. They already felt that it was enough to block the advance of Yangchen's group. Of course, Lin Jingyuan took the lead to meet one. As for the other 2, one directly blocked Ao Lan and Long Quang, while the other targeted Yangchen. The immortal beheading platform's prestige was simply too great. No one knew this better than these fellows who came down from the immortal realm. Even though Yang Chun only seemed to have reached the Xian immortal level, none of them would look down on him. Instead, they treated him with the most serious attitude. As for Gao Yu, Gong Sunling, Tout Junkie, and Ao Lai, they were 4 Xian immortal level fellows. So what if one of them was from the dragon race? Didn't they see that the 4 of them were protected in the middle when the 8 of them charged forward? Just this alone was enough to explain everything. There were also Zhao family's Xian immortal experts rushing over under the lead of their 3 ancestors. Since they had the advantage of numbers, they had to make use of the advantage of numbers. Not to mention only 8 people, even if there were 80 of them. What could they do? Were they afraid that they would overturn the heavens? The previous losses were only because they hadn't expected it. Now that the Zhao family had completely recovered, the hatred of Yang Chun and the others for killing the Zhao family disciples could only be paid with the blood of the 8 of them. The person in charge even started to imagine the beautiful future after they killed Yang Chun and obtained the inheritance of the immortal beheading platform. The 3 dragon race experts were also not bad. They were full of good things. The Zhao family would definitely be able to achieve a complete victory and return with great rewards. Even if they didn't get the profound heaven sex wealth, just the wealth of Yangchen alone was enough to make people drool. Chapter 2304. An unimaginably terrifying killing intent enveloped a radius of 100 miles. Yangchen did not greedily want to kill all the enemies in the dragon trapping formation. Instead, he tried his best to concentrate his killing intent in order to give the Zhao clan cultivators the greatest deterrence. This was the spiritual world, not the mortal world. Furthermore, the enemies were basically all trained in the demon realm. A killing intent that was too scattered would not be able to guarantee sufficient effect. It was better to concentrate it within 100 miles to achieve the greatest effect. The zither music and killing intent were released. Before Yang Chun could make a move, the nearest Xian immortal experts were already bleeding from their 7 orifices and their bodies went limp. With such a close distance, the Xian immortal experts who had not experienced the tempering of killing intent could not withstand it at all. The luckiest person was Ao Lan and Long Quang's opponent. After being disturbed by the zither music and killing intent, Ao Lan directly grabbed and broke one of his opponent's legs. Long Quang was not bad either. However, he only lost an arm. After all, Long Quang's spirit body and physical body had not completely merged. His cultivation and consciousness were still perceptive, so he was not able to take his opponent's life. First of all, the Golden Immortal Master in front of Yang Chun was just a little stunned. This level of killing intent was not the true eruption of the immortal beheading stage. It could only make him stunned for a moment. However, this was enough. When he suddenly woke up, Yang Qin's immortal beheading saber had already landed on his neck. On this point, Sect Master Wu's method of actively pushing himself to the position of leader was not wrong. Unfortunately, he did not have enough experience to convince the masses. His eagerness for quick success caused the other collaborators to turn against him. His goal was not wrong. It was just that his methods were wrong, causing him to deviate from his original goal. One should not underestimate this small distraction. One had to know that there were still 3 golden immortal experts in front of him. They were true golden immortals. If they seized the opportunity and succeeded in one attack, even Yang Chun would not be able to bear the consequences. This was clearly the case for those who besieged Yang Chun. Under the control of the 3 golden immortal experts, the other experts of the Zhao family had a tacit understanding with each other. Every time they launched a surprise attack, it always forced the enemy to dodge slightly. Although the attacks of these Xian immortal experts might not be able to cause much damage to Yang Chun, Lin Jingyuan, or Ao Lan Quanglong, it was still able to slightly distract everyone. The sound of a zither that could split the sky and split the sea suddenly rang out in a radius of dozens of miles. The zither sound that could split the clouds and split the stones carried an extremely strong, killing intent that suddenly exploded. The heavenly phoenix zither, which had been tempered by Big Brotherly Chung and the dragon race's materials, directly unleashed its strongest power, wantonly erupting. Just when everyone thought that Yang Chun and the others were in danger, something unexpected happened. If such a fatal mistake were to occur in a battle against a strong enemy, it would really be fatal. Whether it was Yang Chun, Lin Jingyuan, or Ao Lan Quanglong, they had never been easy to deal with. If they did not grasp such a great opportunity, they would be letting down their many years of experience. Just as Lin Jingyuan's flying sword pierced through the opponent's body, Gao Yu's 2 dragon horn flying swords followed closely behind. Yang Qin's killing intent and Zhou Xianying's zither sound had already eliminated most of the surrounding Zhao family disciples. This golden immortal expert did not even have a companion to help him seize the opportunity. He could only watch as Gao Yu's 2 flying swords pierced his throat and the other pierced his forehead. Zhou Xianying did not appear at the start. This was Yang Qin's intention. If the Zhao family's cultivators did not meet them face to face and instead hid, Zhou Xianying's zither sound would not be able to achieve the best effect from such a distance. It was better to let Zhou Xianying hide at the start and then launch a surprise attack at the right time. This was the best method. The 2 dragon horn flying swords were incomparably sharp. Even if the opponent was a true golden immortal expert, he would not be able to stop the 2 flying swords from piercing through. With 2 soft sounds, the 2 flying swords pierced through the golden immortal expert's throat and head. In an instant, the golden immortal expert lost his life. The corpse did not even fall to the ground before it was directly collected by Gong Sunling. Zhou Xianying's kill symbol technique's zither sound finally appeared when Yang Chun and the others had the most enemies. Coupled with Zhou Xianying's kill symbol technique's zither sound, the second primordial spirit did not hesitate to release its strongest killing intent. However, this lucky fellow was only lucky to not die. Tao Junkie's pure true fire directly burned into his sea of consciousness while he was heavily injured. At the same time, Ao Lai's spirit devouring dragon fire also burned in this fella's sea of consciousness. Puff, a big head flew into the sky, but not much blood flowed out. All the blood had been absorbed by Yang Qin's blood demon, Vine, flying sword. The next moment, the body and head of the golden immortal expert disappeared without a trace with a wave of Gong Sunling's hand. Sometimes it was a fixed number of people, but more often it was a tacit understanding of everyone's cooperation. It had to be mentioned that Yang Qin's family could gain experience in the devil realm, and the Zhao family could also gain experience in the demon realm. In terms of combat experience alone, these core masters of the Zhao family were much more powerful than the masters of the major sect who had only gained experience in the trial grounds. In this regard, Yang Chun also sighed in his heart. If the major sect had the same command and dispatchability, the Zhao family might not be able to compete with the major sect with the power of so many super sect. Unfortunately, most of the time, some fearless coordination and compromise consumed most of the energy, and many of the best opportunities were lost. Seeing that Yang Chen's group of 8 had fallen into a heavy encirclement, the leader of the Zhao family, who was commanding the battle from afar, also smiled. On the Xintian sect side, the Big Dipper elders were also nervous, and even Zhou Sheng began to try to get closer to this side. At this time, only their own people could come to the rescue. No one else could. A sword pierced through the heart, but the golden immortal expert did not die immediately, just seriously injured. If they escaped in time, they could still enjoy a good life. Unfortunately, Yang Chen's group had been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. How could they let it go so easily? In a short time, the wave of Yang Chen's group of 8 was stopped, and the Zhao family achieved this effect. It took less than a cup of tea's time to lose less than 200 Xian immortal masters. The Zhao family's coordination and command ability was evident. Lin Jingyuan's opponent did not have it easy either, and his experience was similar to that of Yang Chen's enemy. The only difference was that he was not beheaded, but pierced through the heart. Even the 3 golden immortal experts were flustered by the endless killing intent and the boiling sound of the zither. They panicked and immediately fell into chaos. It had to be said that the Zhao family's siege strategy was very efficient, as if they had practiced this strategy for many days. When besieging, who was the main attacker, who was the support, and what to do when in danger, there were rules to follow. Chapter 2305. The golden immortal expert let out a long scream as he fled. He had lost an arm, half a shoulder, a leg, and a small part of his pelvis. His divine sense was also eroded and burned by 2 types of fire seeds. This kind of pain was not something an ordinary cultivator could endure. The managers and experts of the Zhao family were shocked. Immediately, more than 10 Xian immortal experts flew out as fast as they could. They wanted to bring this golden immortal ancestor, who only had half a body left, to a safe place. The golden immortal expert had someone to receive him, but the Zhao family disciples within 100 miles around Yangchun were not so lucky. Yangchun chopped off the golden immortal expert's head. Immediately, several different colored lights flew out from Yangchun's hand and flew in different directions. In an instant, countless black fog filled the air and enveloped the entire area. Within the black fog, there was also a black liquid. These 2 things could not be easily detected using divine sense. The moment the Zhao family cultivators came into contact with these 2 things, they immediately let out miserable screams. A blood-red shadow dashed everywhere like a snake. Everywhere it went, it left behind dried corpses. There was also an earthen yellow light. As long as a cultivator touched it, they would definitely explode and die. Even though the Zhao family cultivators were at least heaven immortal experts, under Yang Chen's great yin-yang 5 elements flying sword and the strong interference of the demonic qi, none of them could withstand a single blow from Yang Chun. Lin Jingyuan was not idle either. His flying sword was also a life-reaping impermanence. Everywhere it passed, blood spurted out. When a true golden immortal expert went all out and wantonly slaughtered Xian immortal experts, it was not much harder than killing a chicken. The Dragon Clan's Long Quang and Ao Lai were both ruthless people. Until now, Long Quang only found Yang Chen's family pleasing to the eye. He did not put the other human cultivators in his eyes. Ao Lai was a loyal fighter. It might be difficult for them to deal with a golden immortal, but killing these Xian immortal experts who were affected by the demonic qi and zither music was not a problem at all. As for the more reserved Ao Lan, when he felt the aura of the dragon race expert from the Zhao clan, his eyes turned bloodshot. If not for Yang Chen's plan, Ao Lan might have already pounced forward. Gao Yu's body was like a hedgehog. Countless flying swords rose and fell one after another. Every time a sword light flew out, there would always be a figure falling to the ground. The only 2 who seemed to be free were Zhou Xianying and Tao Junkie. However, Zhou Xianying continued to play the murderous Dao musical formula. It was just that she did not go out to kill. Tao Junkie, on the other hand, was constantly releasing invisible pure true fire in all directions. Many Zhao clan cultivators were unable to break free from it after coming into contact with it. The most ruthless flame, of course, was the Yin-Yang Heaven Burning Fire. 2 fire dragons, one black and one white, surrounded the outermost perimeter, sealing off all the Zhao family cultivators within a radius of 50 kilometers. Except for the Golden Immortal Master who desperately used the blood escape to escape the circle of the Yin-Yang Heaven Burning Fire, including the dozens of Xian Immortal Masters who supported him. No one else could escape. This time, at least 1,000 people of the Zhao family were trapped. One had to know that the mysterious Heaven sect and the Zhao family had been fighting for so long, and only one Golden Immortal Master was killed. The others were just injured but not dead. As long as there was a top-grade healing pill, they could be saved at any time. But when Yang Chun came, in just a short period of time, thousands of Xian Immortal and Heaven Immortal Masters of the Zhao family died, and he also killed 2 Golden Immortals who were crossing their tribulation. If there was no top-grade medicinal pill, the Golden Immortal, who was seriously injured in his spiritual sense, was burned by the 2 kinds of Yin fire. It would be difficult for him to escape death. On the mysterious Heaven sect side, the Heavenly Dipper elders almost cheered. If they were not still in the middle of the battle and had to protect important people, they would have rushed over regardless of everything. Even Zhou Sheng's spirit was lifted, and his attacks were much more neat than before. Yang Chen really got something great in the Immortal Beheading platform. Otherwise, how could he have the ability to kill a Golden Immortal Master so cleanly and neatly? At this time, the remaining Masters of the mysterious Heaven sect also did their best. Since they had seen hope, they naturally had to persist to the end. At this moment, the Zhao family's patriarch even felt like vomiting blood. He originally thought that 8 fat lambs had come to him and was about to go on a killing spree. Suddenly, the fat lambs turned into ferocious tigers that slaughtered the experts on his side. More than 1,000 Xian Immortal Masters. No matter how strong the Zhao family was, they still had more than 1,000 Xian Immortal Masters. Anyone would feel heartache if they failed to destroy the mysterious Heaven sect and lost more than 1,000 Xian Immortal Masters. They wouldn't have to wait to go back to receive the family's punishment. It would be more comfortable to end their lives outside. Kill. This time, the Zhao family's patriarch directly gave an order that disregarded casualties. Kill Zhou Sheng and destroy the mysterious Heaven sect at all costs. Previously, because the Zhao family had enough time, they cherished the lives of their disciples. They only relied on slowly consuming the strength of the mysterious Heaven sect's experts before finally killing them in one fell swoop. The casualties were almost negligible. But now, Yang Chen suddenly appeared. He actually abducted a Golden Immortal who was crossing the tribulation out of nowhere, and his lethality was astonishing. Caught off guard, Yang Chen directly trapped more than 1,000 Heaven Immortals and Xian Immortals with a small trap. Since there were already so many casualties, what was the harm in a little more? As long as they could take down the mysterious Heaven sect, everything would be worth it. They couldn't let Yang Chen's side go either. If 3 Golden Immortal Masters weren't enough, then 6. Yang Chen and the others only seized the opportunity to attack by relying on the zither sound. Would the prepared Golden Immortal Masters repeat the same mistake? As a result, the advancement of Yang Chen and the others was immediately slowed down. They could no longer move forward with irresistible force. They could only fight while moving forward. Fortunately, with the Devil Chi and the interference of Zhou Xianying's zither sound, especially with Gao Yu by their side, those guys' cultivation levels were forcibly suppressed by a large realm. Yang Chen and the others still had a slight advantage against the 6 Golden Immortal Masters and could still move forward. Seeing this situation, Zhou Sheng's spirit was lifted. On Yang Chen's side, there were a total of 9 Golden Immortal Masters, which was equivalent to 9 less Golden Immortals besieging Zhou Sheng. The pressure suddenly lightened. Zhou Sheng had already planned to go on a killing spree and send these annoying guys to the underworld one by one. It was the same for the Heavenly Dipper Elders. Previously, almost half of the 36 Heavenly Dipper Elders had been lost. They only relied on the less than 20 experts left to forcibly rely on their own cultivation to withstand the waves of attacks. This was also thanks to the fact that they had been on the sect's spiritual vein, so they could replenish their spiritual power anytime and anywhere. At the same time, they also had the healing pills given by Yang Chun, which allowed them to hold on until now. However, they were almost an arrow at the end of its flight. Chapter 23:06. The master of the Zhao family had some regrets. He shouldn't have trusted Yang Lan's arrangement too much. He thought that the Xintian sect had no more foreign aid, so he adopted a safe approach with minimal casualties. If he had increased his strength and attacked fiercely at the beginning, although there would have been injuries, it would never have been like today when Yang Chun and a few people killed so many Zhao family children. Everything was unexpected. The formation of the Dragon Trap Formation was originally able to control the entry and exit, but who could have thought that Yang Chun would be able to go in and out of this formation? The Zhao family master admitted that he made a mistake in his desire for stability. At the same time, it was also a mistake for him not to stop the Zhao family children when they were playing cat and mouse. It was inevitable that the Zhao family had accumulated a lot of resentment after being suppressed by the major sect. They should not have made such a low-level mistake in the decisive battle. Even a lion would use all its strength to catch a rabbit. Facing the number 1 Dao sect, they had a proud mind, which was the biggest mistake. Perhaps it was because even Zhou Sheng, the great principal golden immortal, was suppressed by the masters of the Zhao family, which gave them this wrong feeling, which led to a series of accidents later. Fortunately, it was not too late to correct it. Looking at Yang Chen's hurried appearance, he knew that the other sect must not have reacted yet. At least the spies outside had not sent any special news. As long as Yang Chun and the others could be controlled, then it would only be a small accident, the only accident. Not everyone had the ability to enter and exit the Dragon Trap Array so easily. Yang Chen's ability to do so was probably related to the several masters of the Dragon Clan. The number of people in the world who could have such a friendship with the Dragon Clan could be counted with one hand. However, the Zhao family masters still couldn't think of a cultivator from a super sect who had such luck. Yang Chun and the people he brought were still fat sheep, but they were just a little harder to eat. But when he entered the Dragon Trap Array and was surrounded by so many prepared masters, there was no chance for a sneak attack, and the situation before would not happen again. The demonic chi, killing intent, and the sound of the zither still had an effect, but it was no longer as powerful as a sudden attack. As long as the other side dealt with Zhou Sheng as soon as possible, they could free up their hands to deal with Yang Chun. It was funny to say that on the Zhao family side, they all thought that it was easier to deal with Zhou Sheng, the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, than to deal with Yang Chun. Only God knew where their confidence came from. Even Yang Chun was puzzled by this. If it were him, he would definitely have sent more experts over to wipe out Yang Chen's group before surrounding and attacking the stronger Zhou Sheng. Unexpectedly, the situation was reversed. Could it be that the Zhaos were afraid of what Yang Chun had obtained from the Immortal beheading platform? But they didn't even know what they had obtained. So what was there to be afraid of? But on the other hand, perhaps it was because they didn't know what Yang Chun had obtained that they were so afraid. In short, a strange situation formed on the battlefield. Yang Chun and his group slowly and firmly advanced towards the core of the Xintian sect under the attack of 6 Golden Immortal experts and a group of Xian Immortal experts. On the other side, the battle circle that besieged Zhou Sheng was getting more and more intense. The masters of the Zhao family were also very puzzled. According to reason, they had so many masters besieging Yang Chun. Only 3 of them were at the Golden Immortal level, the others were at the Xian Immortal level. But no matter how hard they tried to attack, no matter how they worked together, all the attacks would be useless in front of Gong Sun Ling. After absorbing the entire mountain river geographical map of the Devil Realm, it had become a real world. Unlike the ordinary immortal cave space, the real world had a self-recovery mechanism. No matter how damaged it was inside, it would always slowly recover. Whether it was the Golden Immortal experts or the Xian Immortal experts, all the attacks were first suppressed by a large realm before falling on the Mountain River geographical map. The damage caused could not be seen from the outside at all. The more they besieged, the more shocked the experts of the Zhao family became. At the same time, they became more and more expectant. Such a strong defensive ability, needless to say, must be related to the Immortal beheading platform. As long as they killed Yang Chun and his group, this powerful magic weapon would fall into the hands of the Zhao family. Just thinking about it made them excited. The battle on Zhou Sheng's side was very fierce, but to Zhou Sheng's surprise, although the number of experts besieging him had been reduced by 9, the offensive did not slow down at all. It even showed signs of becoming more and more intense. What made Zhou Sheng even more depressed was that no matter how strong his attack was, apart from injuring a few golden immortals at the beginning, all the attacks would fall on one of the magic weapons of the Dragon Clan, and then be in vain. The strong defensive power made Zhou Sheng admire it, but at the same time, it gave him a headache. The attack of a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal was actually helpless against a peak Golden Immortal Dragon Clan expert. Both sides had such a sigh, but the battle was getting more and more intense. Zhou Sheng also consciously moved closer to Yang Chen's side, looking forward to the moment when the two sides would meet up. As long as the two sides could meet up, he would be able to get more healing pills from Yang Chen. Zhou Sheng would then be able to fight head-on and get rid of a few more opponents. At that time, the balance of victory would definitely tilt towards the mysterious Heaven sect. The Zhao family might have also discovered Zhou Sheng's intentions, so their intention to stop him was very obvious. This made Zhou Sheng even more determined to meet up with Yang Chun and the others. Yang Chun seemed to understand the situation, so he also changed his direction and rushed over. There was still about 50 kilometers between them. As long as he worked hard, Yang Chun would be able to meet up with Zhou Sheng. Zhou Sheng's heart also became more and more relaxed as he got closer. At this point, there was no need to be vigilant anymore. The situation was turning around. The moment Zhou Sheng relaxed, the experts of the Zhao family suddenly bared their fangs. The aura of the Dragon Clan expert fighting with Zhou Sheng suddenly changed from 1 to 2. Originally, there was a wood attribute Dragon Clan expert, but in an instant, there was another earth attribute Dragon Clan expert. The change was so fast that Zhou Sheng didn't even think about being on guard. He shouldn't have been so relaxed during a battle, but seeing that the number of opponents had decreased and that he was about to meet up with Yang Chun, his negligence was accurately grasped by the other party. It was unknown how long the Earth Attribute Dragon Clan expert had been waiting for this opportunity. The heavy blow directly landed on Zhou Sheng, who had no time to dodge or block. The last time Zhou Sheng was injured, he was entangled by an expert from the Zhao family. Then, the Wood Attribute Dragon Clan expert attacked him. This time, the situation was the same, but it was an Earth Attribute Dragon Clan expert. However, the result was the same for Zhou Sheng. Zhou Sheng only felt as if his entire body had been hit by a world. He could no longer withstand the heavy impact, and his body flew high into the air. While he was still in the air, he spat out a mouthful of dark red blood. Chapter 2307. The experts of the Zhao family had been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. No matter how many disciples of the mysterious Heaven sect were surrounded, played around, or even killed, Zhou Sheng did not get distracted at all. Even if hundreds of disciples lost their lives, Zhou Sheng still had a heart of stone and always insisted on his own way of fighting. It was the arrival of Yang Chen that gave Zhou Sheng hope, which caused a gap to appear in his originally flawless heart. This gap was immediately seized by the Dragon Clan expert of the Zhao family. The Zhao family master originally wanted to change to another method, but he was stopped by the Dragon Clan expert. He could only watch the disciples of the Zhao family suffer heavy casualties, and even several Golden Immortal experts were slaughtered by Yang Chen. From this point of view, Zhou Sheng was obviously not as good as the Dragon Clan expert of the Zhao family. At least, he could not be distracted in a battle of this level, while the Dragon Clan expert could still pay attention to the movements here. From a certain point of view, Zhou Sheng was inferior. Of course, it was no longer news that Zhou Sheng had a poor view of the overall situation. If he really had a perfect view of the overall situation, how could he have replaced Sect Master Li and supported Sect Master Wu to take over the position? The Golden Immortal experts who were besieging Zhou Sheng saw Zhou Sheng being hit hard and sent flying. How could they let go of such a good opportunity? Everyone's strongest assassin had been waiting for this final blow, and now was the best time to strike. At least 6 flying swords penetrated Zhou Sheng's body, and 3 magic treasures of different shapes bombarded Zhou Sheng's body. More than a dozen magic treasures wrapped around Zhou Sheng's body and tightly restrained him. The change was so sudden that no one expected such a thing to happen. Even if the first attack was not enough to kill Zhou Sheng, the following attacks from the Golden Immortals had completely destroyed Zhou Sheng's life. The Zhao family master finally showed a smile on his face. As long as he killed Zhou Sheng, a great principal Golden Immortal. So what if all the Xian Immortal disciples who came this time died? Once Zhou Sheng died, it would be a great credit. The mysterious Heaven sect probably had no time or opportunity to send a great principal Golden Immortal to the lower realm. When the Heavenly Dipper elders saw this scene, their vision turned black, and they almost fainted collectively. If Grandmaster Zhou Sheng were to die, then the profound Heaven School would probably be erased from the spiritual realm today. Even Yang Chun did not expect such a turn of events. All his previous efforts had gone up in smoke with Zhou Sheng's serious injury. If Zhou Sheng died, with so many Golden Immortal experts and that expert from the Dragon race, Yang Chun would have no choice but to ask Big Brother Li Cheng and Madame Bai for help. Zhou Shengren was still in the air, coughing up blood. His limbs were bound, but his heart was as clear as a mirror. In the end, his state of mind was still not perfect enough, and he revealed a flaw, allowing the enemy to seize the opportunity to strike. Strangely enough, Zhou Sheng's mind was clearer than ever, even though he knew that there was no way he could recover from his injuries, and the enemy wouldn't give him a chance to save himself. His life's experience flashed in front of his eyes like a horse lantern. Cultivation, experience, killing, ascension, and so on, everything was clear. The most clear was the process after going down from the immortal world to the spiritual realm. Perhaps this period of time was the most wonderful, comfortable, and enjoyable period of Zhou Sheng's life. Everything was so clear. He seemed to have really done something wrong. He shouldn't have made a move on Sect Master Li at the beginning. He should have let him continue to lead the profound Heaven sect. If it was still Sect Master Li, the profound Heaven sect would not have fallen to this state. How many disciples of the sect were innocently purged just because they didn't agree with Sect Master Wu's policy? The dignified, profound Heaven sect had lost at least half of its strength on the surface just because of these purges. Although Sect Master Wu later took back the secret subsidiary sect to the profound Heaven sect, it seemed that the loss of the sect's power was not too big. But Zhou Sheng knew better than anyone that a loss was a loss, and he couldn't cover it up. He made the second mistake in the demon realm. He shouldn't have been so headstrong and arrogant. He could have secretly investigated the whereabouts and purpose of the Zhao family, but because of his arrogance, he exposed his whereabouts, allowing the Zhao family to have sufficient preparation, and even led to the death of several Golden Immortal experts of the other sect. The profound Heaven sect was isolated by the major sect, and in the end, Zhou Sheng had a share of the credit. The third mistake was to kill the sect master of the Black Tortoise Academy, and so many people who made a move during the sect's meeting without warning. In this matter, Zhou Sheng didn't feel that there was anything wrong with making a move. It was just that his mistake was to inform the other Golden Immortal experts before making a move. To be honest, informing them wouldn't let those guys escape, nor would it affect the outcome later. However, Zhou Sheng didn't do that. In his heart, he was high and mighty. Why would he need to explain his motives to anyone? It was this mistake that caused him to fall into the current predicament. If he had gotten the forgiveness of his companions at that time, why would the profound Heaven sect be so isolated, and no one came to rescue them at this time? As he flipped in air, Zhou Sheng's remaining divine sense probed Yang Chen's side. This Yang Chen was really good, whether it was a person or alchemy. It was a pity that he was blinded by greed and wanted to make a move on him. If he hadn't gone to Chunyang Palace, then when Lin Zhongxuan was injured, he might have been easily treated by Yang Chun, and maybe Lin Zhongxuan wouldn't have died. If Lin Zhongxuan hadn't died, the profound heaven sect would not have fallen to this point. If Lin Zhongxuan hadn't died, the profound heaven sect might not have become enemies with the Black Tortoise Academy at that time, and the sect master of the Black Tortoise Academy might not have made a move on him during the meeting. Now that he thought about it, that guy clearly used his life to lure him to make a move. He thought about it thoroughly, but it was already a little too late to remember it at this point. Although Yang Chen's 7th Revolution Lingji Mushroom Jade Pill was useful, it was only used on relatively ordinary injuries. Moreover, Zhou only had one pill left, which was in his mouth. After being attacked by the Earth Attribute Dragon Race expert, he had swallowed it in time. But there were too few pills after all. In addition, the effect of the 7th Revolution pill was not strong enough. He could only catch his breath, but he couldn't turn the situation around. The attacks of the Golden Immortals made his situation even worse. Even with stronger pills, he couldn't recover. Once Zhou Sheng died, the profound heaven sect would follow closely behind. Even Yang Chun and his dragon friends who came to rescue would not be spared. The Golden Immortal expert would not be able to escape this calamity. Chapter 23:08. In a flash, Zhou Sheng had already thought a lot. In essence, Zhou Sheng was an absolutely loyal disciple of Profound Heaven Sect. Otherwise, Profound Heaven Sect would not have sent him to the lower realm. Now that Profound Heaven Sect would be destroyed as long as he died, Zhou Sheng did not want to see such a scene happen. Just before the second round of attack of the Zhao clan was launched, Zhou Sheng had already made a decision. Even if he died, he would drag a few people down with him. The 7th Revolution Lingji Mushroom Jade Pill given by Yang Chun gave Zhou Sheng a chance to catch his breath and also gave him the ability to make the final blow. He was seriously injured and could not even muster the slightest spiritual power, but did not prevent him from self-destructing. The self-destruction of a perfected Golden Immortal was no less than a nuclear bomb in the spiritual world. Especially before Zhou Sheng came to the lower realm, he had been instilled with some special things by the experts of the immortal world. Once he died and self-destructed, the power would be 10 times stronger than usual. No matter how powerful the expert of the Zhao clan was, they could hurt Zhou Sheng, seriously injure him, or even kill him. But they could not stop Zhou Sheng from self-destructing. Seeing that Zhou Sheng's action was abnormal, the Dragon Clan expert of the Zhao clan immediately realized the danger. Without thinking, he took out his protective magic treasure that could withstand countless attacks from Zhou Sheng to block in front of him. At the same time, he did not forget to remind his Golden Immortal companions. Be careful, he will self-destruct. The words of the Wood Dragon expert also woke up the other Golden Immortal experts who were in the dream of killing a perfected Golden Immortal. Every Golden Immortal expert was an outstanding expert. So, after hearing the warning, none of them dared to be negligent. Immediately, they summoned out their defensive magic treasures and flew backward. In the blink of an eye, Zhou Sheng's body exploded. Boom! A loud noise sounded as if all the explosives in the entire spiritual world had detonated. Wherever the sound reached, no matter what level the cultivator was at, their ears were all rumbling and they could no longer hear anything. The invisible shock wave began to spread rapidly in all directions with Zhou Sheng as the center. The shock wave was like the most ferocious sea wave, directly destroying everything in its path. Whether it was cultivators, magic treasures, stones, or trees, everything was turned into powder under the power of the shock wave. At the place where Zhou Sheng self-destructed, a mushroom cloud of blood rose up. The 3 Golden Immortals who were closest to the explosion were obviously slower in dodging. Before they could react, their bodies were torn into pieces. Before the pieces could even fall to the ground, they were turned into powder by the explosion. The Wood Dragon race expert of the Zhao family dodged quickly. His figure flashed and disappeared. The Earth Dragon experts disappeared after a single strike. Although the explosion was powerful, it had almost no effect on them. On the other hand, those gold immortals who had dodged quickly had relied on the powerful defensive magical treasures they had refined over the years, and the fact that they had left at a high speed to fly away from the explosion to offset part of the force. That was how they managed to avoid being blown to smithereens. However, that was all there was to it. They could avoid death, but they could not escape punishment. Their protective magic treasures could only last for a while longer, allowing them to escape from the area of certain death. However, their bodies were still inevitably seriously injured. Blood sprayed out like it was free, and healing pills were like snacks at this moment. They kept stuffing them into their mouths, just to survive the explosion of a great, overarching golden immortal. Those profound immortals and celestial immortals of the Zhao family and the profound heaven sect who were within the range of the shockwave had no chance to escape or resist. They were directly turned into nothingness by the shockwave of the explosion. Even Yang Chun and the others were within the range of the explosion. However, they were still 100 miles away, enough for Yang Chun and the others to react. The way to resist the explosion was actually very simple. They just needed to easily enter the mountain and river geographical map. No matter how powerful the explosion of a great overarching golden immortal was, it was not strong enough to destroy a world. Even Gong Sunling secretly put all the people within a radius of tens of miles into the mountain and river geographical map, while everyone was panicking. Gong Sunling was now at the level of peak profound immortal, so it was effortless for her to directly collect these profound immortal experts. It happened so suddenly that the two golden immortal experts who had previously besieged Yang Chun and the others did not make the right reaction under the panic and took the initiative to plunge into the mountain river geographical map. After entering the mountain river geographical map, it was basically out of their control. Lin Jingyuan and Yang Chun were able to fight them one-on-one. Coupled with the suppression of Gong Sunling in the mountain river geographical map and the deterrence of several Dragon Clan experts on the side, the two guys were easily dealt with by Yang Chun and Lin Jingyuan. After all, they were golden immortals who had passed the tribulation. They were many times stronger than those profound immortals in the spiritual world. After their deaths, they turned into two golden immortal-level spiritual veins. The range of the explosion expanded to at least 1,000 miles before it stopped and weakened to the power that ordinary profound immortals and celestial immortals could withstand. Even so, more than half of the profound immortal experts outside the range of the explosion vomited blood. As for the celestial immortal experts, they were directly knocked to the ground and fell unconscious. The disciples of the Zhao family were not spared. Those disciples of the mysterious heaven sect who were lucky enough to survive the attack of the Zhao family were also killed by their own ancestral master, without distinguishing between friend and foe. The other place that was still intact was the core of the mysterious heaven sect. The Heavenly Dipper elders protected that area with all their might. In time, they noticed the changes on ancestral master Zhou Sheng's side and activated the only remaining small protective array. After all, the distance was far enough, and the protective array was directly rooted in the core spirit vein of the mysterious heaven sect. Finally, this last area was protected from being completely destroyed by the ancestral master's self-destruction. Zhou Sheng's self-destruction directly wiped out thousands of profound immortals and celestial immortals from the Zhao family. In addition, it also killed 3 golden immortals. The remaining 18 golden immortals were all injured and temporarily lost the ability to fight. It could be said that the Zhao family suffered heavy casualties during the siege of the mysterious heaven sect this time. However, they achieved the greatest result of the battle. They killed Zhou Sheng, the strongest Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal of the mysterious heaven sect. Without a super expert to hold the fort, the destruction of the mysterious heaven sect could already be expected. Seeing that the Zhao family seemed to have no strength to resist after Zhou Sheng's final blow, the disciples of the mysterious heaven sect, who had been hiding in the core of the mysterious heaven sect, finally saw an opportunity. Sect Master Wu was indeed worthy of being Sect Master Wu. No matter how cruel the internal struggle was, his strategic vision was still there. If he did not seize the opportunity to fight back at this time, he would not be the sect master of the mysterious heaven sect. Kill. Sect Master Wu waved his hand in high spirits. Leave them all here. As he gave the order, Sect Master Wu began to imagine the scene of the other sect in the spiritual realm when they found out that the mysterious heaven sect had single-handedly destroyed so many experts of the Zhao family. Chapter 2309. Although the Black Heaven sect had lost their great firmament golden immortal grandmaster Zhou Sheng, they had left behind more than 20 golden immortals and 2 Dragon Clan experts. They had eliminated nearly 10,000 profound immortals and heaven immortals. It could be said that after this battle, the Zhao clan would definitely not be able to recover. This was the merit of the mysterious heaven sect. Although it was exchanged with the lives of Zhou Sheng and thousands of profound immortal and heaven immortal disciples, it was a real merit of the mysterious heaven sect after all. After today, which sect would dare to disrespect the mysterious heaven sect in the future? And which sect would dare to say that Zhou Sheng slaughtered the innocent? If it wasn't for Zhou Sheng, would the spiritual world be able to enjoy such a peaceful and strong life? The only thing to worry about was that without Zhou Sheng, those super sect would have their golden immortal ancestors to rely on and do something that would harm the interests of the mysterious heaven sect. However, this was a small matter. As long as the mysterious heaven sect in the immortal world was still there, no sect would dare to take such a big risk to do such a thing, unless they would never ascend again. Besides that, they had to bear the reputation of being ungrateful and biting the hand that fed them. Even if the ancestors of the immortal world didn't make a move, just the spittle of the spiritual world would be enough to make those super sects retreat. With this merit and the evidence of the Black Tortoise Academy relying on the Zhao family, Sect Master Wu would be the number 1 person in the spiritual world. No one would have higher prestige than him, and no one would be more respected than him. Sect Master Li was highly respected. Could he be more respected than Sect Master Wu? More respected than Sect Master Wu? Sect Master Wu, who was fantasizing about all these wonderful scenes, did not notice the mocking smile on the face of the Zhao family master thousands of miles away. Zhou Sheng's self-explosion also did not hurt the Zhao family master. As a master, there were inevitably experts to protect him. Moreover, they were at the eye of the dragon trap array, which had an extremely strong defensive function. The self-explosion of a great firmament golden immortal was indeed powerful. Even the powerful dragon trap array, which even the golden immortal level dragon puppet could not do anything about, could not survive Zhou Sheng's self-explosion. However, the dragon trapping formation absorbed most of the power of the explosion in this direction, so the Zhao family patriarch and the others did not suffer any damage. There were at least 100 Xian immortal experts on the manager's side. They were just waiting for the manager's order to attack and completely annihilate those guys who wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to show off their strength. Did he really think that the Zhao family only had such a small amount of resources? Most of the top experts of the profound heaven sect had already been killed. The remaining rotten fish and shrimps were not even strong enough to protect themselves, yet they wanted to come out and take advantage of the situation. It was a pity that they couldn't capture Yang Chun alive. Otherwise, the Zhao family would have one more super strong 7th grade pill refinement master, and those golden immortal experts' injuries would definitely heal in the shortest time possible. It wasn't that the Zhao family patriarch didn't think that Yang Chun and the others might be lucky, but they were so close before, less than 100 miles away. Moreover, after Zhou Sheng's self-explosion, they didn't even take any protective action, let alone any signs of escaping. Even the Zhao family's golden immortal experts died inside before they could escape. How could Yang Chun survive that kind of self-explosion? The dragon trapping formation had been broken, and the movement here would definitely spread out soon. It couldn't stop the other sect's experts from rushing to help. The Zhao family had suffered such a big loss this time. It was time to retreat. But before retreating, the Zhao family patriarch didn't mind getting rid of Sect Master Wu, this clown. Did he really think that the remaining experts of the profound heaven sect could overturn the heavens? Sect Master Wu, who was immensely proud of himself, was completely unaware of the impending danger. His attention was already focused on how many Zhao clan survivors were killed by the experts he sent to clean up the battlefield. He was waiting to enjoy the moment of glory. The Heavenly Dipper elders also relaxed a little. Looking at the Zhao family's movements, they were obviously planning to retreat. The Zhao family's experts who had originally surrounded this place were retreating in an orderly manner. This made them relax for the first time after a few months of continuous tension. Sometimes things are like this. When you were nervous, you would focus so you wouldn't make some small mistakes. But when you were relaxed, you would ignore some things that shouldn't be ignored. For example, there were a few more flatterers around Sect Master Wu. These few profound immortal experts were all people who relied on Sect Master Wu in the later stages. They were highly regarded by Sect Master Wu and became his confidants. Although their real combat power might not be as strong as cultivators of the same realm as them, it was undeniable that these guys were really good at flattering. Moreover, they could be said to be loyal and devoted to Sect Master Wu. Most of the time, these people were around Sect Master Wu. They weren't of much use, but they could make Sect Master Wu feel comfortable. At this time, if there weren't a few more words of praise, it would seem abnormal. Just when the disciples of the profound heaven sect thought so, and everyone thought that this was normal, something abnormal happened. The three profound immortal experts, who usually had no real ability other than flattering, directly attacked Sect Master Wu, who was very close to them. Before Sect Master Wu took the position, he was only at the Earth Immortal level. He relied on the 1,000-year pill to forcibly advance to the Heaven Immortal realm. Later, he had been managing the sect, so he didn't have enough time to improve his state of mind and adjust the gap between his cultivation and state of mind. Until now, Sect Master Wu was just a high-level Heaven Immortal, at most a peak Heaven Immortal cultivator. No matter how unbearable the few flatterers were, they were still in the profound immortal realm. Three profound immortal experts plotted against an unguarded peak Heaven Immortal, and it was almost a hit. Sect Master Wu didn't even have a chance to speak before his head was separated from his body. Sect Master Wu probably never thought that one day, the people who would take his life were not his enemies, nor were they disciples of Sect Master Li's faction. Instead, it was these guys that he had personally recruited and entrusted with heavy responsibilities. Those unruly disciples that Sect Master Wu suspected would not obey him did not betray him. Those neutral disciples did not betray him. But it was these guys that he trusted the most who betrayed the profound heaven sect and became the Zhao family's lackeys. The sudden change stunned the higher-ups of the profound heaven sect, but this was not the end. There were a few more people who made a move at the same time. Their targets were the few core higher-ups of the profound heaven sect, including the current Foreign Affairs Hall Master, the Law Enforcement Hall Master, and several other core higher-ups were all trusted subordinates of Sect Master Wu when he was in charge of the Taishamen in the mortal world. They had a few common characteristics. In addition to their loyalty to Sect Master Wu, their cultivation was generally not high enough. Even if Sect Master Wu had enough resources after taking the position and had the 1,000-year pill and 100-year pill for them to use, they were only at the Heaven Immortal level. None of them could escape the sneak attack of the profound immortal experts. Chapter 23:10. The eyes of the Heavenly Dipper elders almost popped out. Who would have thought that after fighting outside for so long, there would be trouble inside at this time? By the time they wanted to rescue them, it was already too late. Not only that, a few guys who suddenly attacked even made a move on them. If it was a real fight, the Heavenly Dipper experts were not afraid of anyone. These guys also understood this. Fighting with the Heavenly Dipper experts, even if they had been tired for a few months and were almost at the end of their strength, they might not be a match. But since the plan was thorough, there were many ways to deal with this situation. After those guys succeeded in their attack, they immediately threw several powerful self-exploding magic treasures towards the Heavenly Dipper elders. Dozens of powerful magic treasures that had been refined by golden immortal experts exploded in front of them at the same time. The remaining less than 20 Heavenly Dipper elders suffered heavy casualties. They didn't die under the siege of the profound heaven sect experts for a few months, but under the betrayal of their own disciples, they died with hatred. Only 2 or 3 of them were still alive, and one of them was elderly, the great elder of the Big Dipper constellation. However, even though they were still alive, everyone knew that there was no hope for them in their current situation. It was only the final radiance of the setting sun. The injuries were too heavy. The few Heavenly Dipper elders who were still alive didn't even have the ability to self-destruct. They could only look at the traitors with a triumphant smile, planning to destroy everything in the profound heaven sect. Traitors deserve to die. After the great elderly struggled to say a few words, he lowered his head powerlessly. At this moment, he didn't even have the strength to sit and raise his head. Everything seemed to have fallen into despair. The profound heaven sect has been awe-inspiring for so long. It should have died long ago. One of the traitors simply ignored the words of the great elder and sneered. Now you still want to put on the airs of the great elder. Who are you trying to fool? The remaining experts of the profound heaven sect who could make a move had been sent out by Sect Master Wu to clean up the battlefield. There were only a few heaven immortal experts left here. In front of these profound immortal elders, they didn't even have the chance to resist. In this situation, they still wanted to kill them. The great elder and the others were thinking too beautifully. A person must recognize the situation, otherwise it is not knowing the current situation. The guy who took the lead laughed arrogantly and slowly walked forward, intending to end the lives of the Heavenly Dipper elders. Traitors deserve to die. An incomparably clear voice suddenly resounded in everyone's ears. Everyone's vision blurred for a moment, and then dozens of figures appeared in front of them. All of them were Xian immortal experts. All of them wore the same clothes, and even their actions and expressions seemed to be exactly the same. They immediately surrounded the few traitors, and then they didn't say anything else and directly attacked. Big Dipper formation. A traitor who knew his stuff cried out in shock when he saw the tens of Xian immortal experts formation. Other than the Big Dipper elders, there were actually disciples of the mysterious heaven sect who knew the Big Dipper formation. However, he only had the time to utter a single word before he lost the chance to do so. The cultivations of these mysterious immortal realm experts were higher than them. Their teamwork was more proficient, and their combat strengths were even more formidable than them. Moreover, for the sake of killing the Tiangang elders, they'd already used up all the powerful magic treasures they possessed. Now that they were surrounded by the Tiangang formation, there was only a single outcome left. In less than half a cup of tea's time, these surrounded traitors were all beheaded. When the last traitor's head was chopped off, his eyes were still wide open, as if he couldn't believe all of this and died with everlasting regret. The great elderly, held on to his last breath to watch all of this. The death of the traitors seemed to have given him a lot more strength. Not only did he straighten his chest, but he also had a smile on his face, and his complexion was much rosier. However, everyone understood that this was the final radiance of the great elder before his death. Looking at the appearance of these experts, the great elder smiled and encouraged them. Well done. Just as he said this, he suddenly seemed to have thought of something, and his face revealed a shocked expression as he shouted, "Not good, Sect Master Li." Those Xian immortal experts who rushed over were stunned for a moment, and then immediately came to their senses. They didn't care much and hurriedly flew in the direction where they came from. Unfortunately, it was already too late for them to think of this at this time. In the eyes of the Zhao family, the threat of Sect Master Li was far greater than that of Sect Master Wu, who was eager for quick success, so the focus of the killing was also Sect Master Li, who was said to be in seclusion but was actually under house arrest. However, it was not an easy task to kill Sect Master Li. In addition to the Heavenly Dipper elders who were always looking after him, there was also a group of hidden experts who were secretly guarding him. These hidden experts were the 36 Xian immortals who had just appeared. They were actually the personal disciples of the current Heavenly Dipper elders, the next generation of Heavenly Dipper elders. If there were no accidents, the current Heavenly Dipper elders could ascend after protecting Sect Master Wu, and the next generation of Heavenly Dipper elders would take over. With the secret protection of these new Heavenly Dipper elders, Sect Master Li would be safe even when he was under house arrest. However, it was unknown how the Zhao family found out about this secret. After getting rid of Zhou Sheng, the next target was Sect Master Li. Killing Sect Master Wu and the current core high level was only the superficial purpose. The real goal was still Sect Master Li. The Zhao family knew very well that Sect Master Wu could not set off any big waves. But if Sect Master Li was allowed to come out again, I am afraid that the Zhao family would have to face the profound heaven sect that had already become a mourning army, which was not in line with the interests of the Zhao family. However, in the core of the profound heaven sect, it was almost impossible for the hidden chess pieces of the Zhao family to kill Sect Master Li, who was under the protection of the new Heavenly Dipper Elders. Therefore, the only way was to transfer these new Heavenly Dipper Elders away. Killing Sect Master Wu was his goal. Of course, killing Sect Master Wu would only bring him benefits and no harm. Cutting grass to beat a rabbit was just a convenient way to do it. The key was that the Great Elder and the new Heavenly Dipper Elders were fooled. In order to kill those insignificant traitors, they left Sect Master Li. When the Great Elder realized that something was wrong and reminded the new Heavenly Dipper Elders to return to Sect Master Li, Sect Master Li was already dying. This was the result of their quick reaction and timely return. Otherwise, I am afraid that they would only be able to see Sect Master Li's head separated from his body. The assassin who made the move did not escape and was directly dismembered by the angry new Heavenly Dipper Elders. However, this could not change the fact that Sect Master Li had been seriously injured by a profound immortal expert and was about to die. The Great Elder was also injured by this sudden change and directly breathed his last. When he died, he also died with his eyes open. Medicinal pills. Are there any healing medicinal pills? A new Heavenly Dipper expert had already shouted in panic. Is there any medicinal pills for Master Yang? However, the newly refined 7th grade medicinal pills by Yang Chun were only given to Zhou Sheng, and there was not even one in the hands of the other disciples of the profound heaven sect. Master Yang is fine. Master Yang has already rushed over. Just when everyone was in a mess like ants on a hot pan, someone suddenly pointed in a direction and shouted in surprise. Chapter 23:11. The cultivators of the mysterious heaven sect who saw this scene were really surprised. There is nothing happier than a sect with countless injured soldiers suddenly seeing an alchemy grandmaster like Yang Chun, especially when this alchemy grandmaster was best at refining healing and life-prolonging pills. In the past, there was a rift between the Chunyang Palace and the mysterious heaven sect. Those who could help the mysterious heaven sect in this situation today were the best friends of the mysterious heaven sect. Even if there was a big hatred in the past, it had been put down at this moment. No one was blind. The arrival of Yang Chun had caused the Zhao family to suffer heavy losses. It could almost be said that the overall situation of the Zhao family being suppressed was eased because of the arrival of Yang Chun, resulting in a slight upper hand in the current stalemate. Who contributed the most? Grandmaster Yang. How did Grandmaster Yang survive the self-explosion of a great principal, Golden Immortal? No one would care about this. The higher-ups knew that Yang Chun had obtained the inheritance of the Immortal beheading platform, so it was natural for him to have this kind of protective ability. The most important thing now was to let Grandmaster Yang quickly treat the dying sect Master Li. Along the way, most of the Zhao family cultivators had been killed by Zhou Sheng's self-explosion. The few cultivators who were still alive quickly fled to a safe place. Otherwise, they would be killed by the experts of the mysterious heaven sect who came out to clean up the battlefield. Therefore, when Yang Chun arrived at the core of the mysterious heaven sect, he was not stopped. Yang Chun appeared at the right time and was unanimously welcomed by the mysterious heaven sect. Yang Chun was also very tactful. He quickly rushed over and saw a familiar cultivator that he had met before. He immediately threw a few jade bottles over. 7th grade, Lingji Mushroom Jade Pill, Broken Limb Regeneration Pill, Hurry Up and Save People. While throwing the pills, Yang Chun did not forget to tell him what was inside and told him to hurry up and save people. The other party didn't dare to neglect. He immediately rushed to the place with the most injured people as if he was holding a rare treasure. On the other side, Two of the new Elder Tiangang hurried to Yang Chen's side and quickly asked him to come to Sect Master Li for treatment. Sect leader Li's injuries were very serious. He was attacked by two Xian Immortal experts. His entire internal organs were turned into minced meat. The bones below his waist were all broken, and most of his spine was broken into pieces. Fortunately, he still had a little consciousness and was not completely unconscious. Grandmaster Yang, quickly treat him. The old Heavenly Dipper elders were all dead, and now the new generation of Heavenly Dipper elders automatically became Heavenly Dipper elders, responsible for protecting the Sect Master. At this moment, they were all gathered around Sect Master Li, anxious and helpless. Seeing this situation, Yang Chun didn't say anything. He directly took out several 7th-grade Lingji mushroom jade pills and stuffed them into Sect Master Li's mouth. Then, he squatted down and examined it carefully. The Big Dipper elders looked at Yang Chun's actions anxiously. At this moment, Yang Chun was their last hope. The moment Elder Li saw Yang Chun, a gratified smile suddenly appeared on his face. It's just that everyone thought that seeing Yang Chun would allow him to get a life-saving pill to survive and didn't think of anything else. These new Heavenly Dipper elders didn't know the relationship between Yang Chun and Sect Master Li. They just thought that it was a simple doctor-patient relationship and didn't think too much about it. Their hopes were all on Yang Chun at the moment. Yang Chun checked very carefully, and his spiritual awareness almost explored the whole body of Sect Master Li. If it was in normal times, this would be very rude and provocative, but at this moment, no one cared so much. Seeing that Yang Chen's eyebrows were getting tighter and tighter, the surrounding Heavenly Dipper elders were nervous. Finally, Yang Chun stood up, shook his head at Sect Master Li, who was still conscious, and said with regret, "Sect Master Li, the injury is too serious, and the vitality of the internal organs is completely destroyed. No matter how strong the pill is, it will be useless to save you." Saying this, Yang Chun didn't feel particularly sad, but suggested, "Don't waste the pill, just be reborn directly." Yang Chun gave a lot of dwelling spirit jade to the mysterious heaven sect, and almost all the important people left behind their life source primordial spirit. Sect Master Li, as the sect master, would definitely not miss it. He must have also left behind his life source primordial spirit. As long as they had this as a guarantee, death was not something that was hard to accept. This was a very normal suggestion, and under normal circumstances, Sect Master Li would not refuse it. But as soon as Yang Chun said this, he directly saw the bitter smile on everyone's face, and at the same time, he also saw the helpless expression of Sect Master Li. What happened? Yang Chun was puzzled. Could it be that it was not the right time for them to be reborn? A Big Dipper elder replied with a bitter smile, "Master, the secret cave where the mysterious heaven sect kept the life source primordial spirit jade has been captured by the Zhao family, and all the dwelling spirit jade inside has been destroyed. For cultivators, the dwelling spirit jade was definitely a super killing weapon. How could the Zhao family not attach importance to a good thing that could make all cultivators fearless of death? This time, the Zhao family besieged the mysterious heaven sect. Zhou Sheng was one, Sect Master Li was another, and the other was the secret cave where the dwelling spirit jade was stored. If the secret cave where the dwelling spirit jade was stored had been captured, it meant that the three most important strategic goals of the Zhao family had been completely achieved. It would not be an exaggeration to say that they had won a complete victory. As for the sacrifices that the Zhao family had made, compared to these three goals, it was completely negligible. Since it was war, how could there not be sacrifices? With this limited sacrifice in exchange for the destruction of the entire mysterious heaven sect, the Zhao family had gained a great advantage. Why is such an important place not in the core of the sect? Yang Chen almost jumped up. The anxiety on his face was not faked at all, and his tone was almost questioning. A cunning rabbit has 3 burrows. Our mysterious heaven sect has always been like this, but we didn't expect the Zhao family to find out where we were and take advantage of the situation. Another Big Dipper elder said helplessly, the Zhao family was well prepared this time. Not a single core disciple of the mysterious Heaven sect escaped. From a safety point of view, the mysterious Heaven sect arrangement was not excessive. Otherwise, once the core of the sect was breached, all the disciples would never have a chance to make a comeback. Storing them separately was the safest way, and there was nothing wrong with it. The only thing wrong was that the entire place would be taken by someone else, and then even their last hope would not be left. It could be said that they had caught everyone in one fell swoop. Yang Chun, help me extend my life for 2 days. The dozen or so Lingji mushroom jade pills seemed to have some effect. Sect Masterly became a little more spirited and spoke intermittently. Both of his lungs had become minced meat, and even breathing had become an extravagant hope. Yang Chun looked at Sect Master Li with a complicated gaze, but Sect Master Li's eyes showed a trace of pleading. Finally, Yang Chun nodded and took out a Yun Marrow pill, a Millennium pill, and a broken limb regeneration pill from his body and stuffed them into the body of Sect Master Li. Sect Master Li's body was placed in a bathtub by Yang Chun. Inside the bathtub, it was a mixture of 10th water, spiritual solution, and 4C's mysterious coral liquid. Chapter 23:12. The reason why it was stuffed was that the internal organs of Sect Masterly had already become rotten meat, and there was no vitality. Swallowing, it could only reach the throat. The previous dozens of Lingji mushroom jade pills turned into a group of medicinal liquid in the throat, barely repairing the flesh around the neck. But it didn't help. The vitality of the whole body was gone. After a while, there was only some vitality left above the neck. The 9 Revolutions golden pill was taken, but it was useless. This situation was not as good as the dragon puppet at the time. At least the dragon puppet's flesh body was good, but there was no vitality. This one had been completely broken and could not be saved. Only Yang Chun used a few medicinal pills to form a medicinal pill array in a mysterious way, absorbing the spiritual power from the 10th water spiritual solution, barely maintaining the vitality of Elder Li's head. In the words of Sect Master Li, it was to help him extend his life for a few days so that he could arrange more things after his death. No matter how many medicinal pills Yang Chun took out, it would not surprise everyone. But when Yang Chun took out half a bathtub of the 4C's mysterious coral liquid and then mixed it with the 10th water spiritual solution, even if the Heavenly Gang elders were knowledgeable in the profound Heaven sect, they couldn't help but take a breath of cold air at this moment. The Zhao family may know that they have achieved their predetermined strategic goals and didn't want to fight anymore. Seeing that Yang Chun and his party were safe and sound, they also had the idea of retreating. There was no need to bury all the elites here. It was enough to kill Zhou Sheng and the 2 sect masters of the profound Heaven sect and destroy the location of the dwelling god Jade. In particular, the dragon trap array had been violently destroyed by Zhou Sheng's self-detonation, and the news could not be blocked. If they were surrounded by the major sect, it was estimated that none of the cultivators present could escape. The top masters of their own family were also suffering heavy casualties, and there were only a few left who could fight, but Yang Chun was still full of energy, and it was not worth the loss to fight. Yang Chun could come here, he would definitely arrange for his own people to persuade the masters of other sect to come and help. The Zhao family master was also a decisive master. After considering these factors, he directly ordered a retreat. Within half an hour, the children of the Zhao family, including the living and the dead, left clean. Only now was the profound Heaven Gate truly safe. When the Xian Immortal experts who were cleaning up the battlefield returned to tell everyone the news, all the profound Heaven sect disciples heaved a sigh of relief. After being besieged for the past few months, the Black Heaven sect disciples were like trapped beasts. Those human immortal and earth immortal disciples, who used to strut around outside, now realized that when the sect's survival was at stake, their cultivation level was actually of no help to the sect. This feeling could no longer be described as a simple blow. It could even be said to be discouraged. Not only did the Zhao clan kill Zhou Sheng and the 2 sect masters, they even killed all the core members of Sect Master Wu's faction. When Sect Master Li was still in power, the higher-ups were killed by Zhou Sheng and Lin Zongxuan a long time ago. At this point, it could be said that the entire upper echelons of the mysterious heaven sect had been wiped out. Only sect Master Li, who only had a few days to live, was left. After the Teshumon in the mortal world was sect leader Li, who had already died in the mortal world. Those who could be in charge had either died or fled in the previous purge by sect Master Wu. None of them were left. Even the original Heavenly Dipper elders had died. With sect Master Li's understanding of the sect, it was likely that there would not be many outstanding disciples in the sect who could lead the mysterious heaven sect to glory again in a short period of time. Sect Master Li asked Yang Chan to fight for a few days of life in order to think of a way for the spiritual realm's mysterious heaven sect to continue its glory. However, no matter how hard he racked his brains, he could not find a stable path. It was impossible to count on the new generation of Heavenly Dipper elders that Elder Li and the others had secretly cultivated. Not to mention that they were just thugs who did not know how to deal with the affairs of the sect. Just the sect rules stated that the Heavenly Dipper elders were only responsible for the safety of the sect master and could not interfere in the affairs of the sect. There were a few ordinary elders who had some ability, but they were only limited to managing a small hall. Once the number and scale of the number of people increased, it would be a completely different matter. Even if these elders could take charge, they were just small backbones at the bottom. Once they were allowed to take charge of the mysterious heaven sect, it would take a few years for them to be eaten up by the major sect like wolves and tigers. Today, Sect Master Li sadly discovered that the mysterious heaven sect was really finished. Even if the Zhao family didn't do anything, the mysterious heaven sect would naturally develop, but it would be difficult for it to escape destruction. He could only lie motionless in the bathtub, and there was not even a person around to discuss with. Compared to the time when Sect Master Li was still in power, the mysterious heaven sect was practically at the end of the road. It stood to reason that all of this was caused by the two ancestors, Zhou Shenglin and Zhong Sun, and Sect Master Wu. It had little to do with Sect Master Li. However, as the sect master of the mysterious heaven sect, how could he bear to see the mysterious heaven sect fall to such a state? Could it be that everything was really irreversible? Perhaps he could find some talented people from other affiliated sect to lead the sect? As soon as he thought of this idea, Sect Master Li directly denied it. In order to make up for the loss of strength caused by his own purging of the disciples of the mysterious heaven sect, Sect Master Wu had merged most of the affiliated sect into the mysterious heaven sect. Moreover, managing a small sect and managing a sect like the mysterious heaven sect were not at the same level at all. Sect Master Li's gaze finally stopped on Yang Chun. This personal disciple of his was still loyal to the mysterious heaven sect, and his means were excellent. Although he was not the palace master of the Chunyang Palace, his words were almost the words of the palace master, and the palace master of the Chunyang Palace listened to him. The Chunyang Palace in the mortal world had become more and more like a super sect. Now the Chunyang Palace in the spiritual world was also the leader of the first-class sect, and it was only one step away from a super sect. If Yang Chen's inheritance from the Immortal beheading platform was counted, he would not be at a disadvantage compared with those super sect in terms of top-level force. He was definitely the best candidate to let the sect pass on for a long time. Sect Master Li was a talented and bold person. If it weren't for Zhou Sheng and Lin Zhongxuan, he could have brought the mysterious heaven sect to a more glorious height. Therefore, when he considered the problem, he was more forward-looking and big-picture than Sect Master Wu. He even considered many follow-up developments. He had already considered the integration of the mysterious heaven sect and the Chunyang Palace as one. If the mysterious heaven sect was handed over to Yang Chun, it would inevitably expose the relationship between Yang Chun and the mysterious heaven sect, and the Chunyang Palace would be suppressed, which would be detrimental to the future development of the Chunyang Palace. It was the most appropriate to hand it over to Yang Chun, but Sect Master Li also had to choose the safest way to let the mysterious heaven sect and the Chunyang Palace develop in the long term. After lying in the bathtub for 2 days, Sect Master Li finally made a method that he thought was good for the sect, the predecessors, and Yang Chun. At this time, the people of the major sect that Yang Chun had sent people to inform also arrived at the mysterious heaven sect. Chapter 23:13. Long before Yang Chun sent someone to inform these sects, the few golden immortal masters who were present at the time had already vaguely realized that something was wrong. Although Zhou Sheng was arrogant and despotic, everyone fought side by side when they fought against the Zhao family in the demon realm. Although he was a bastard, he was not a bastard to the point of being the enemy of the world with his own strength. The Xintian sect had no reason to turn against all the sects at this important moment before the decisive battle with the Zhao family. The situation at that time was a bit chaotic, so in order to be safe, everyone first brought the sect masters of their respective sects to a safe place. After they were safe, they thought about it again. There were indeed some very abnormal things inside. Although Yanglan's Great Free Demon Heart Sutra had evolved again, there were still some clues after all. When the Golden Immortal Masters recalled it carefully, some of the situations at that time were really abnormal. However, they couldn't tell what was wrong, so they could only return to their respective sects first. Zhou Sheng was still the same. He turned a blind eye to those cultivators with low cultivation bases. He didn't even warn them before he made a move. He only had himself to blame. The Xintian sect should also be taught a lesson. At this time, not taking the initiative to hit the Xintian sect while they were down was already worthy of the friendship of fighting side by side with everyone. Don't think about asking them to come forward to clarify certain things and let the Xintian sect take the position of the leader of the Dao sections. During this period of time, there had been many small and medium-sized sects in contact with each other, intending to take revenge on the Xintian sect for killing the senior members of their sect. The major sects also pretended not to see it. The trouble caused by the Xintian sects, Zhou Sheng would be solved by the Xintian sect itself. After 2 months of idleness, suddenly, Master Yang Chun of the Chunyang Palace sent someone to warn them that the Zhao family might launch a war against the Xintian sect and asked the major sects to send people to help immediately. At this time, when the senior members thought about it carefully, they immediately understood the cause and effect of this matter. The Zhao family had used some unknown method to control those people to plot against Zhou Sheng. The arrogant Zhou Sheng would definitely take the initiative to attack without informing anyone. Naturally, he would become the public enemy of the world. Then, the Zhao family would choose to annihilate the mysterious Heaven sect. On one hand, the other major sects wouldn't be able to react in time, and on the other hand, they might not take the initiative to attack because of the previous discord. This will buy a lot of time for the Zhao family. It was indeed a good plan. After receiving Yang Chen's warning, the sect leaders understood everything and became anxious. If the profound Heaven sect was really isolated and defeated one by one, the situation in the spiritual realm would probably completely collapse. With the morale of the spirit realm's cultivators plummeting, the day when the Zhao family would take over the spirit realm was just around the corner. Therefore, no one dared to be negligent and immediately sent out their elite experts to help. Unfortunately, it was too late for Yang Chan to send someone to warn them, and for the sect members to rush over. In the end, they managed to make it to the territory of the Black Heaven sect. The first thing they saw was a scene of devastation. The traces of battle covered an area with a radius of tens of thousands of miles. There was no need to look at the enemies. Just by looking at the traces of battle, one could tell how fierce and terrifying the battle had been. After seeing the disciples of the Black Heaven sect, the experts of the major sect who rushed over to help heaved a sigh of relief. The Black Heaven sect was still there, so the situation hadn't reached the worst point. However, when they heard from the expressionless disciples of the Black Heaven sect that ancestor Zhou Sheng had self-destructed, all the people who knew about it were shocked speechless. The only Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal in the lower realm of the immortal world had been forced to self-destruct under the siege. Then, each sect only had a group of peak Golden Immortal experts. Would they be able to resist the Zhao family's attack in the following days? The losses of the Black Heaven sect were not avoided. This was also Sect Master Li's instruction. When the experts of the various sect heard that the Black Heaven sect's Heaven Immortal and Mystic Immortal experts had suffered heavy casualties, with less than 10% of them surviving, their hearts fell to the bottom. When they arrived at the mountain gate of the Black Heaven sect, even worse news came. The Black Heaven sect master Wu had been assassinated by a spy arranged by the Zhao family. Not even a single core member of the upper echelon was left alive. The hearts of all parties were in chaos. While they hurriedly asked about the losses, they also asked who was in charge of the Black Heaven sect now. Finally, someone remembered Sect Master Li, who was said to have gone into closed-door cultivation, and asked about his whereabouts. Then they sadly heard that Sect Master Li had also been plotted against and was seriously injured. Even Great Master Yangchun could only extend his life for a few days. He was barely holding on until his last breath. The Black Heaven sect is finished. A golden immortal expert who led the team couldn't help but sigh. The major sect also knew the details of the Black Heaven sect. Such an accident had happened to the upper echelon, and the top forces were all dead or injured. Only a large number of Earth Immortal and Human Immortal disciples were left. What hope was there? Some people were still a bit lucky. As long as they could save Sect Master Li's life, maybe the Black Heaven sect could still have the power to reverse the situation. However, when they saw Sect Master Li's current situation with their own eyes, they no longer had this thought. Even Great Master Yang shook his head. There was no one in the spiritual realm who could pull Sect Master Li back from the edge of the underworld. Only Great Master Yang could use such an incredible method to keep Sect Master Li alive for so many days. If it was someone else, Sect Master Li would have died a long time ago. The first to rush over were only the 4 Dao sects. Among them, the Blue Cloud sect's sect master came in person, while the other sects were led by golden immortal ancestors. A few days later, 3 Demon Clan sect and 1 Demon Clan sect came. The other sect was too far away to arrive in such a short time. Sect Master Li, my condolences. Looking at Sect Master Li's current appearance, the upper echelon of the sect felt a little sad. Today, the Black Heaven sect had suffered this misfortune. No one knew who would be next. While feeling sad, there was also a little relief in everyone's hearts. They had been fighting with the Black Heaven sect for so many years and had always been suppressed by the Black Heaven sect. Today, they finally didn't have to worry about this anymore. The Black Heaven sect had been arrogant in the past, so it was only right for them to receive such a lesson. Everyone, don't worry. The Zhao family didn't get any better. Sect Master Li had already accepted it. The Black Heaven sect couldn't be saved no matter what, so it was better to take advantage of this moment to leave everyone a little hope. The Zhao family couldn't still be alive and kicking after the Black Heaven sect was gone, right? The losses of the Zhao family had been clearly understood by all parties in the past few days. The self-destruction of a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal was by no means ordinary power. Several of the Zhao family's top experts had died, and those who were alive were all injured. Perhaps this was the best time for everyone to gather and attack the Zhao family. However, attacking the Zhao family was a major event, but the future of the Black Heaven sect was also the focus of everyone's attention. Everyone wanted to know how Sect Master Li would deal with the Black Heaven sect. Chapter 23:14. The high-level people who came from all sides were basically gathered in Sect Master Li's room. Also here were the new Elder Tiangang and Yangchun. However, the Heavenly Dipper elders were free. Their Tao of concealment did not appear in front of everyone. Looking at Sect Master Li, who was lying in the bathtub and relying on Yangchun's medicinal pills and spiritual liquid to prolong his life, the high-level officials of all parties sighed in their hearts. Once upon a time, Sect Master Li was also an ambitious and ruthless person. Unexpectedly, at this moment, he has been reduced to such a fate. Thinking about it makes people sigh involuntarily. You can come to help at this time. Li is grateful. Although Sect Master Li is weak, he does not lose the bearing of the Sect Master. Everyone cupped their hands, but they couldn't say anything. The scene in front of them, where an ambitious and ruthless person had fallen to such a state, left them speechless. The Black Heaven sect is finished. It has fallen into my hands. I've let down my ancestors. Sect Master Li no longer intended to beat around the bush with these high-level members of the sect, and directly said his thoughts. The words of a dying man are kind. Please be magnanimous and listen to the words of a dying man. Sigh. Several of the higher-ups present sighed in unison. Then they all listened quietly, waiting for Sect Master Li to say his last words. As of today, the Black Heaven sect can only be considered to exist in name. I intend to disband the Black Heaven sect to give everyone an explanation. Sect Master Li was dying, and his words were not afraid to shock everyone. As soon as he opened his mouth, he threw out a shocking news. That's not all, right? The Blue Cloud sect master said with a sigh. The dignified #1 sect of the Tao sect was disbanded just like that. It was really hard to accept. In the past, the major sect and the Black Heaven sect appeared to be harmonious on the surface, but behind the scenes, they fought openly and secretly. Who knew how much discord had accumulated? However, when they heard Sect Master Li of the Mysterious Heaven sect personally say that he wanted to disband the Mysterious Heaven sect, they all felt that the world was unpredictable. If they were happy, they should be happy. After being suppressed by the Profound Heaven sect for so long, especially after the Immortal World's Profound Heaven sect took over the Heavenly Court, the Profound Heaven sect became even more arrogant. This disbandment was also in line with the wishes of all parties. But disbanding just like that was too sudden. Without the Profound Heaven Gate, the spiritual realm felt like it was missing a piece of its own. Those who weren't involved wouldn't be able to understand. You don't have to be so polite. The dissolution of the Profound Heaven sect is also in line with everyone's expectations. Sect Master Li seemed to see through everyone's thoughts. How many people are looking forward to the destruction of the Mysterious Heaven sect? Now that this old man has personally disbanded it, it's better than having all the disciples killed. From this perspective, it was not surprising that Sect Master Li made this decision. Everyone knew that the Mysterious Heaven sect was suffering from internal and external troubles. Relying on these few profound immortal experts to maintain the status of the Mysterious Heaven sect and deal with those cultivators who hated the Mysterious Heaven sect was like a mayfly trying to shake a tree. Sect Master Li took the initiative to disband the Black Heaven sect, which could be considered a retreat in order to advance. No matter how much hatred there was in the past, it could only be considered a personal hatred. It could not affect all the disciples of the Mysterious Heaven sect. This was a way for all the disciples to live. Sect Master Li, forgive my rudeness. The Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal from Samsara Valley next to him said rudely, after the Mysterious Heaven sect is disbanded, what do you plan to do with those disciples? This is what this old man wants to discuss with everyone. Sect Master Li seemed to have already thought of the answer to this question, and he said it with a smile. The higher-ups of all parties listened carefully. Even if the Mysterious Heaven sect was disbanded, a skinny camel was still bigger than a horse. The current Mysterious Heaven sect could not be underestimated. If such a force was not properly settled, it would probably be a disaster. If it is divided among the major sects, I'm afraid you won't be able to use it at ease. Sect Master Li first said the thoughts of all parties. He was no longer afraid of offending anyone in his current state. Some truths that would have been impossible to say in the past were now said very naturally. If it is so concentrated, even if the Mysterious Heaven sect is said to be disbanded, you will definitely not be at ease. What Sect Master Li said was really what the major sects were worried about. If you said to disband and then disband, who knows if you're using this name to recuperate? It would be strange if everyone could be at ease. So, it is best to have a sect that everyone trusts and accept these disciples. Sect Master Li didn't keep everyone guessing and directly said his answer. As long as this sect accepts these forces, they will not threaten all parties. I think everyone will be relieved, right? Since Sect Master Li said so, which sect are you going to choose? I'm afraid Sect Master Li has already thought about it, right? The Golden Immortal Master of the Five Elements sect asked in a deep voice. My Mysterious Heaven sect is in such a great disaster, and all the sects in the spiritual realm are watching with folded arms. At this time, Sect Master Li did not directly state his goal, but stated some facts. There is only one person who came in a hurry to save my sect from the fire and water. Who is Sect Master Li talking about? There was no need for him to say the answer again. Everyone already understood that it was Yang Chun. In this way, The sect that Sect Master Li liked was Chunyang Palace. If it was Chunyang Palace, everyone could accept it. In the past, Mysterious Heaven Sect and Chunyang Palace could barely maintain peace, but since Sect Master Wu took over, the two sides were like fire and water, and it was impossible for them to work together. Even the major sects had tried to persuade Chunyang Palace to save some of the disciples who had been purged by Mysterious Heaven Sect. How can Chunyang Palace guarantee that these Mysterious Heaven Sect disciples will not have any other thoughts? Someone on Mashan asked. Although this question was asked about Chunyang Palace, in fact, everyone knew that it was asked to Sect Master Li. All the remaining disciples of Mysterious Heaven Sect will join Chunyang Palace and worship the ancestor of Chunyang Palace. Sect Master Li didn't make a decision, but once he made a decision, he would definitely consider it comprehensively. All these disciples will make a great oath of the heart demon that they will only be loyal to Chunyang Palace and abide by the rules of Chunyang Palace. They will no longer have anything to do with Mysterious Heaven Sect. Mysterious Heaven Sect will be removed from the spiritual realm from now on. As soon as this great oath of the heart demon was made, basically everyone was silent. If this was done, Mysterious Heaven Sect would really be removed from the spiritual realm. This time, it was even worse than the time in the mortal world. It should be known that this was a voluntary disbandment, and all the disciples took the initiative to make a great oath of the heart demon that they would no longer have anything to do with Mysterious Heaven Sect. As long as this was done, no one would cause any trouble in the name of avenging Mysterious Heaven Sect, and all the major sects could also sit back and relax. Even if Mysterious Heaven Sect in the immortal realm knew about it, they would have nothing to say. This was a decision made by Sect Master Xiantian himself, and no one else forced him. Being able to get rid of Mysterious Heaven Sect so peacefully, all the major sects almost wanted to celebrate. The most reassuring thing was that even if they accepted this group of human immortal and earth immortal disciples, Mysterious Heaven Sect would only be a little stronger than an ordinary first-rate sect. It would not reach the level of super sect. Master Yang had a wide circle of friends, and he would not do anything to embarrass the major sects. Chapter 23:15. Yang Chun was reassuring. Looking at his history of enmity with others, except for those ignorant guys who wanted to take advantage of Yang Chen's property or women, he only had conflicts with the Taishaman Xiantian sect when it came to the sect. He got along well with other major sects. Especially after Master Yang became famous in alchemy, he established a good cooperative relationship with all major sects. He shared the latest elixirs, the best elixirs, and even the super life-saving divine jade. He had no intention of monopolizing everything. Getting along with Yang Chun made everyone happy and relieved. It was much simpler than getting along with Xiantian sect. Moreover, whether it was Chunyang Palace or Xiantian sect, they didn't want much. They just wanted a stable place to develop quietly, which was not a threat to any party. Of course, there was one thing that made all parties feel at ease. Chunyang Palace didn't have the foundation to support a super sect. Chunyang Palace in the mortal world only rose 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, which was also after Yangchen supported it. Xiantian sect in the spiritual realm came from nothing. Yangchen exchanged some elixirs for a place to live. Even with this group of people from Xiantian sect, how far could it develop? As for the threat after reaching the immortal realm, it was even more of a joke. There was no Chunyang Palace in the immortal realm. If these disciples of Chunyang Palace ascend to the immortal realm in the future, and Xiantian sect in the immortal realm comes to settle accounts, what will happen? Someone immediately raised this question. After all, everyone was still afraid of Xiantian sect in the immortal realm. Although Xiantian sect in the mortal world and Xiantian sect in the spiritual realm had disappeared, Xiantian sect in the immortal realm had become a tree without roots and water without a source. After all, Xiantian sect had accumulated a strong foundation for so many years. If they made trouble for this reason, they were afraid that it would be a mess when they reached the immortal realm. There's a group of Xian immortal disciples who are unwilling to live in Chunyang Palace. So I arranged for them to ascend and report to the ancestors what I did. Sect Master Li had already considered this, and replied calmly, "If you don't believe me, you can also send someone to ascend to remind your ancestors to prepare early." After saying this, Sect Masterly smiled and said, "I'm not afraid of offending the ancestors. If all the sect in the celestial world unite, my mysterious heaven sect might not dare to do anything to them. What is there to worry about?" Everyone was worried about the celestial world's black heaven sect, not these disciples. He swore a great heart demon oath that it had nothing to do with the black heaven gate. That was enough. No cultivator was willing to violate the great vow of heart demons. "I think it's doable." The leader of Blue Cloud sect nodded. "It's barely feasible." The golden immortal master of the green jade, Immortal Island, immediately followed. "Sure." Everyone present expressed their opinions one by one, and it seemed that the matter was settled. "Seniors." Yang Chen's voice sounded in everyone's ears, and Yang Chen smiled bitterly. "This matter is related to this junior, and is also related to this junior's sect. Why don't you ask this junior's opinion?" "Why? You still don't want to." The golden immortal of the Reincarnation Valley and Yang Chen had met once. At this moment, he immediately glared at him and put on the posture of a senior and reprimanded. "It's a good thing that falls from the sky. Is it wrong for you? But this junior has to discuss it with the elders of the sect, right?" Yang Chen waved his hand helplessly. "Such a big thing. This junior can't make the decision alone. You can't be the master of Chunyang Palace?" The golden immortal master of the green jade, Immortal Island, sneered directly, causing everyone to laugh. Who didn't know that Yang Chen had the final say in Chunyang Palace? If he couldn't make the decision, then no one could. Or do you think that this matter is decided by the palace master of your Chunyang Palace? The golden immortal of Qinquan's sect was no exception and added a sentence. This made Yang Chen directly speechless. From the beginning to the end, this matter was not discussed with Yang Chen. Sect Masterly made his own decision, and after informing all parties, it was decided. As for Chunyang Palace, it seemed that it had become a matter of whether they agreed or not. Looking at Yang Chen's helpless acceptance, everyone was in a good mood. This matter was the most perfect solution. It was rare to have a way that all parties were satisfied with. Sect Masterly could think of it so thoroughly. The sect was satisfied because the Xintian sect was gone, and Chunyang Palace could not threaten all parties. The disciples of the Xintian sect were also satisfied. They no longer had to face the pressure of the sect directly, and they could cultivate peacefully under the wings of Chunyang Palace. Otherwise, with the current situation of the Xintian sect, they would never have a peaceful day in the future. Even the Zhao family was probably satisfied. The Xintian sect was destroyed by them, and their prestige and morale were greatly boosted. Yang Lan was even more satisfied. Not to mention the destruction of the Xintian sect. The more power Yang Chen had, the more power he had. The territory of Chunyang Palace can't support so many disciples. Yang Chen could only helplessly express his concerns. Now Chunyang Palace only occupied the territory of the Sunset Rock, Linyang River, and the Hatred Sea. Now it was full. If there were more disciples, it was afraid that there would be no room for development. Isn't this easy? The golden immortal master of the five elements sect smiled slightly and directly stomped the ground under his feet. Since you have accepted the disciples of the Xintian sect, we can't congratulate you. The territory of the Xintian sect will belong to Chunyang Palace. The territory was a good thing, and every sect wanted it. If something happened to the Xintian sect, it would definitely be divided by several surrounding sections. However, everyone understood that no sect was willing to have another Xintian sect. Instead of letting the super sect of the Dao sects get this territory, it was better to give it to the non-threatening Chunyang Palace. The reason was the same. It was just to restrain each other and not to let one or several parties become stronger. The benefits fell on the head of Chunyang Palace for no reason. It had to be said that Sect Master Li had already considered all this before making the decision. The reactions of all parties had been considered, so he was so thorough. Yang Chen had nothing to say. After getting the biggest benefit, he couldn't complain anymore. However, even though Yang Chen had nothing to say, there were still people who had doubts. What if some of these disciples of the Xintian sect are unwilling to join Chunyang Palace and worship the ancestors of Chunyang Palace. Worshipping the ancestors of Chunyang Palace was equivalent to deceiving the ancestors of the Xiantian sect. Among the cultivators, there were naturally many who were unwilling to do this. These unwilling guys would be the root of trouble sooner or later, so it was normal for some people to have this concern. Alas, Sect Master Li sighed and said, "If there are those who are unwilling, then persuade them. If the persuasion fails, Elder Li." The new great elder of Tiangang was also surnamed Li. He appeared directly in front of everyone, bowed to Sect Master Li, and waited for his orders. "If there are really people who are unwilling, Elder Li, you can personally send them to meet me." Chapter 23:16. What was decisive in killing? Decisive in killing meant that even when killing one's own people, one would be clean and merciless. Even if Sect Master Li only had a little chance of survival, he still did this. At this point, no one said anything more. Sect Master Li had already arranged things to this extent. If they said anything more, they were afraid that even their own people would feel sorry. Yang Chun got the biggest benefit, and it was something that he had been thinking about for a long time, but could not realize. He got the foundation of Xiantian sect, so his heart was the happiest. When Sect Master Li saw that all the negotiations were ready, he felt a little less worried in his heart. His mind relaxed, and he could no longer hold on and fainted. The dissolution of Xiantian sect was such a big thing. If Sect Master Li did not personally announce it, all the disciples of Xiantian sect would have made a scene. Therefore, Sect Master Li could only feel that he could relax after the negotiation, but to fully arrange it, he was afraid that he had to summon all the disciples to announce it. Yang Chun diagnosed that Sect Master Li's current condition was very bad, and he could only hold on for a while. He took out a few elixirs again and arranged a self-circulating elixir array to stimulate Sect Master Li to wake up slowly. At this time, Yang Chun no longer said anything more. The biggest benefit was Yang Chun and Chunyang Palace. After getting the biggest benefit, he should not open his mouth to destroy this temporary balance, so as not to overreach himself. The remaining Xian Immortal and Heaven Immortal Masters of Xiantian sect gathered first. Under the witness of the representatives of the major sects, they heard Sect Master Li's order. Every disciple of Xiantian sect was shocked, and they also began to consider whether this matter was made by Sect Master Li under the pressure of the major sects. However, these things were naturally explained by the Big Dipper elders. At the same time, Sect Master Li also provided these disciples with a choice. If the Xian Immortal disciples were unwilling to join Chunyang Palace, they could choose to ascend to the Immortal Realm and stay away from all the troubles. When they reached the Immortal Realm, they would still be disciples of Xiantian sect, but the affairs of the spiritual realm had nothing to do with them. However, only the Xian Immortal disciples and the disciples at the peak of Heaven Immortal who were close to ascension had such a choice. The other disciples also had the opportunity to choose, but no one knew the consequences of choosing not to join. Of course, before making their choice, the Big Dipper elders had already informed all the disciples of the profound Heaven sect about its current situation and true strength. They believed that none of them were fools, since they were able to ascend from the mortal world to the spiritual realm. Knowing the truth of the situation, many people would make the right choice. In the last days of Sect Master Li's life, the disciples of the mysterious Heaven sect finally made their choice. 90% of the profound Immortal Realm disciples chose to ascend, while the rest stayed in the spirit world, including the newly appointed elder Big Dipper. Among the ordinary disciples, 90% of them chose to join Chunyang Palace, and the remaining 10% chose to become rogue cultivators. In the eyes of the major sect, these disciples were restless targets. Their fates had been decided the moment they made their choice. Under the supervision of the representatives of the sect, all the disciples who were willing to join Chunyang Palace made the great oath of the Heart Demon in front of Sect Master Li. From then on, they would join Chunyang Palace and worship the ancestor of Chunyang Palace. They would no longer have anything to do with the mysterious Heaven sect. Of course, this was only a temporary ceremony. To really join Chunyang Palace, they still needed the palace master of Chunyang Palace to personally preside over the admission. However, at this time, making the great oath of the heart demon had already given the major sect a reassurance pill. Seeing a group of disciples complete the great oath of the heart demon, the representatives of the major sect were also relieved. Sect Masterly finally completely let go of all his worries. His remaining vitality could no longer support him, and he slowly closed his eyes. "Don't let me down." At the moment before closing his eyes, Sect Masterly left this sentence to Yang Chun, and then closed his eyes gently. Everyone thought that this was Sect Master Li telling Yang Chun to take good care of those disciples of the mysterious heaven sect, and not to be hunted down. Only Yang Chun and Sect Master Li knew the mystery. Even the new Big Dipper elders were not clear about it. Watching Sect Master Li close his eyes and take his last breath, Yang Chun also had an indescribable feeling in his heart. The Teshament of the mortal world and the mysterious heaven sect of the spiritual world were all destroyed in front of Yang Chen's eyes. It was just that one was besieged as the public enemy of the world and was destroyed by the Hotian calamity, while the other was disbanded by the sect master before his death. But in any case, the mysterious heaven sect of the spiritual world also dissipated. When the news of Sect Master Wu's death reached the ears of the surviving disciples of the mysterious heaven sect, almost none of them felt sad. Even the trusted aides he appointed were the same. On the contrary, after the death of Sect Master Li, all the disciples cried bitterly. This kind of sect master who was unanimously supported by the entire sect had not appeared in the mysterious heaven sect for a long time. Yang Chun and Tao Junqi personally took care of the funeral of Sect Master Li. Tao Junqi was the personal disciple of Sect Master Li, and Yang Chun was Tao Junqi's husband. So Yang Chun also used the identity of a junior disciple to take care of the funeral. Until the funeral of Sect Master Li and Sect Master Wu was completed, those Xian immortal experts who were unwilling to join the Chunyang Palace ascended on the spot under the attention of all parties and left the spiritual world one by one. The rest of the ordinary disciples were taken away by the heavenly Dipper elders. There were also a few golden immortal experts from other sects in the dark. They were here to monitor whether the heavenly Dipper elders would end the lives of these stubborn, profound heaven sect disciples. The result made everyone very satisfied. In a secret place, the Big Dipper elders used the Big Dipper formation to kill all the disciples who did not obey the last wishes of Sect Master Li without mercy. The new Big Dipper elders had been serving Sect Master Li. The will of Sect Master Li was their goal. Those who did not obey Sect Master Li had only death. The obedient disciples now stayed in their original places and began to rebuild the sect. But this time, it was not the construction of the mountain gate of the mysterious heaven sect, but the new mountain gate of the Chunyang Palace. It was not until almost 2 months after everything was in place that the palace master of the Chunyang Palace received the news and hurried over with several core executives. When they first received the news, they couldn't even believe their ears. The huge mysterious heaven sect actually became the Chunyang Palaces. However, it was Gao Yu and Zhou Xianying who came to report the news, along with several representatives of the major sect. Everything showed that this was not a dream. The palace master didn't have to think about it to know that all this must be related to Yang Chun. As for how Yang Chun did it, they could only wait to see Yang Chun and ask slowly. In any case, the big pie fell from the sky on the head of the Chunyang Palace. The territory of the mysterious heaven sect, which all the sect in the world coveted, officially became the private property of the Chunyang Palace, and it was recognized by all the major sect. Countless jealous sect could only admit this. Chapter 23:17. When the news spread, the world was in an uproar. Wherever the news reached, there was a look of disbelief and disbelief. Xintian's sect was actually destroyed by the Zhao family? How is this possible? Xintian's sect was the world's largest sect, the leader of the Dao sects, and had many experts. How could such a super sect be destroyed by the Zhao family? Countless people began to ask for details. At this time, some insiders explained to these curious and skeptical people how far the Zhao family had gone, how the Xiantian sect's hidden elder, Grandmaster Zhou Sheng, who was a golden immortal, was besieged and self-destructed, how many experts were killed, and so on. Of course, the most important thing was to restore the reputation of Xiantian sect. During the meeting among the various sects, Grandmaster Zhou Sheng was plotted against. It was the people of Xiantian sect who took the lead, but they succeeded in alienating the relationship between the major sects and Xiantian sect, allowing the Zhao family to take advantage of the situation, and so on. Basically, it was an indisputable fact that Xiantian Academy had sided with the Zhao family. After the death of the sect master of Xiantian Academy, the successor turned out to be Lu Wuji's father, the retired Great Elder. It was obviously abnormal for a retired guy to start fighting for power. What's more, as soon as this guy came to power, he purged countless meritorious officials of the sect who had made great contributions in the battle against the Zhao family. Even the golden immortal elder from the celestial world was plotted against. Fortunately, the golden immortal ancestor had a high cultivation level, so sect master Lu did not succeed and escaped with serious injuries. However, this was already after sect master Li's funeral was settled, and everything was settled. For the major sects, this was a good thing. Otherwise, if the people of Xiantian Academy hid it until the last moment, the harm would be even greater. Moreover, Xiantian Academy sided with the Zhao family, so it was naturally moving. It was impossible for them to stay in the same place and wait for the major sects to conquer them. In Xiantian's sect, the major sects could also get some compensation from Xiantian Academy for the territories that the sect did not get. In the entire spiritual realm, all the cultivators in all the sect envied Chunyang Palace the most, as it had obtained the greatest benefits out of thin air. After taking over the territory and disciples of Xiantian's sect, Chunyang Palace naturally became the first-class sect closest to the super sect. It was only because they had too little top-notch power and foundation that they were unable to reach the level of a super sect. It was a pity to say that, but as long as they thought that it had only been a few years since Chunyang Palace established its mountain gate in the spiritual realm, those who felt that it was a pity immediately shut up. If this was a pity, then what was a stroke of good fortune? It seemed that everything was related to Yang Chun. If Yang Chun hadn't thought of the Zhao family's plot at the critical moment and immediately brought a few of his friends from the Dragon Clan to rescue them, the Black Heaven sect might have really been wiped out. Perhaps it was because of this that those disciples of Xiantian sect were willing to join Chunyang Palace under the order of Sect Master Li. This was his ability, not something that fell from the sky into his mouth for no reason. For the major sects, this was a compromise that they had no choice but to make. After all, it was not suitable to give this power to any other sect. It was the safest to give it to Chunyang Palace. Moreover, the hatred between Chunyang Palace and Xiantian sect was as deep as the sea. It was impossible for them to have any thoughts of avenging Xiantian sect. Of course, Yang Chun was also included. Originally, Yang Chun had a close relationship with all parties, and he had obtained the inheritance of the Immortal execution platform. He also had top-notch force, which was why he was recognized by the major sect. Otherwise, it was estimated that the major sect would rather, Xiantian sect, be completely destroyed by the Zhao family. The impact of the news of Xiantian sect's complete disappearance was so great that it even overshadowed the impact of the Zhao family's complete victory. This was also the brilliance of Sect Master Li. Actively disbanding Xiantian sect and being destroyed were two completely different concepts. The Zhao family's purpose of suppressing the morale of the major sect by destroying Xiantian sect was eliminated by Sect Master Li's initiative. Among them, Yang Chun and Zhou Sheng played the most important role in suppressing the morale of the major sect. Zhou Sheng alone killed 4, and Yang Chun also killed 4. Both sides added up to seriously injure each other. It could be said that none of the Zhao family's golden immortal experts return alive. The Zhao family's heaven immortal and profound immortal experts suffered heavy casualties. Nearly 10,000 of them were left in Xiantian sect. No matter how powerful the Zhao family was, it would take a long time to recuperate after losing so many super experts. However, The Zhao family had two dragon experts who could threaten Zhou Sheng in Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal. This was not good news. Fortunately, Zhou Sheng's self-explosion must have injured the two dragon experts. Otherwise, they would not have retreated at that time. If the Zhao family and the cultivators of the spiritual world had lost more strength, the Zhao family might have lost more. However, the Zhao family had recently added Xuanwu Academy. Perhaps the two sides had returned to the same level. How could the sect master of Xuanwu Academy inexplicably join the Zhao family and even attack Zhou Sheng? This was a question that the major sect couldn't figure out. When everyone gathered at Xiantian's sect side, someone raised this question. All parties discussed a lot of possibilities, but they couldn't figure it out. If the great elder of Xuanwu Academy joined the Zhao family, everyone could understand. After all, he had the pain of losing his son and was irreconcilable with Xiantian's sect. But the sect master shouldn't have done this. Why would he want to provoke a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal and then give his life to the great elder? They hadn't heard of the sect master of Xuanwu Academy suffering from an incurable disease or a fatal injury. The Taishaman of the mortal world had a kind of demonic technique called the Great Freedom Devil Heart Sutra. Listening to the discussions of the various experts without a conclusion, Yang Chun finally couldn't help but remind them. The major sect really didn't put Yang Lan in their eyes. If they missed Yang Lan, it was likely that they would suffer a big loss in the future. This time, Yang Lan could control hundreds of cultivators of high status. How much more could he control next time? They had to let all parties deal with the guys controlled by Yang Lan in order to reduce casualties in the future. Otherwise, if Yang Lan attacked them from behind at a critical moment, it would definitely make the major sect's hearts ache. Great Freedom Devil Heart Sutra? There are still people who cultivate this in the spiritual world? Someone immediately expressed doubt. I haven't heard of a large number of female cultivators going missing. Xintian's sect explained a long time ago that it was not the young sect master who caused the destruction of the Taishaman in the mortal world, but someone else. Yang Chun sighed and explained that Yang Lan was later rescued by the Zhao family. Yang Chen's reminder reminded everyone. At that time, Xintian's sect tried very hard to prove that the mortal world was not the fault of the Taishaman's young sect master, Li Liang. They had indeed pushed Yang Lan out. But what everyone didn't expect was that they could still be related to this guy. Chapter 23:18. Although the top masters of the Xintian sect had either died or ascended, many of the people who had dealt with Yang Lan that year were still there. At that time, Yang Lan was just a lowly human immortal disciple, and it didn't take many heaven immortals and Xian immortals to deal with him. As for what happened that year, as long as they asked these people, they would know. Everyone immediately got busy. On one side, they ordered Yang Chun to find people through Chunyang Palace. On the other side, they began to understand the specific information of the Great Freedom Devil Heart Sutra, how to distinguish the controlled people, how to rescue them, and how to kill them. Things were done very quickly. At least in Chunyang Palace, it was easy to summon the disciples who had dealt with Yang Lan that year. In less than a day, there were more than 100 Earth immortal and human immortal disciples standing in front of the masters from all sides, telling everyone about what happened that year. Listening carefully to these people's accounts, everyone could imagine the anger of the Xiantian sect after discovering that many disciples were secretly controlled. After listening to the accounts of these disciples, everyone basically understood what was the situation after being controlled and how to distinguish it. It didn't take long for the results of the investigations of all parties to come out, which were basically the same as the description of these disciples of Chunyang Palace. The only difference was how to distinguish it, because Yang Lan had learned a lesson at the beginning and did a lot more covert. Thinking about the situation at that time, those people really didn't have to take the initiative to die, unless they had no choice. This could also explain why the sect master of Xuanwu Academy committed suicide by harming others without benefiting himself. Now that there was a direction, everyone just had to follow this direction to investigate. However, Yang Chen still reminded everyone that Yang Lan might not repeat the same mistakes. He would never cast a large net to control many people and would only target some key people. The golden immortal experts on the scene immediately began to check all the representatives without any hesitation. They were golden immortal masters with high seniority and high cultivation. No one felt that it was inappropriate to do it themselves, and they were very cooperative to accept the inspection. Fortunately, none of the representatives present were controlled, which was a good result. Next, it was natural to secretly pass the news back to the sect and then investigate within the scope of the sect. Naturally, the affiliated sect of the major sect would not let them go, lest they were caught in the crossfire. Chunyang Palace began to rebuild the sect on a large scale. The mysterious heaven sect's territory was large, and there were many spirit veins. Compared to the Sunset Rock and Linyang River, this place naturally became the core sect. Dilong had set off here, ready to settle down at the core of the original Xintian sect. The original site had become a branch. This was where the gate of Chunyang Palace would be located in the future. Even Elder Wu Xiong had begun to gradually move the headquarters of the Wanbao Tower over here. The entire territory within tens of thousands of kilometers had been destroyed by the battle between the Zhao family and the mysterious heaven sect. It was unknown how many natives of the spiritual world had died. At this time, a large number of natives had to be migrated to replenish their numbers. In short, everyone in Chunyang Palace was very busy. Yang Chun had already checked whether the disciples had any connection with Yang Lan when they made the Heart Demon Oath. Fortunately, Yang Lan was now only interested in big figures and key figures. These junior disciples had not yet been put in his eyes. At least this group of disciples who joined the Pure Yang Palace were clean. Now that Chunyang Palace had seen great development, the original Chunyang Palace disciples' morale was greatly boosted. All of them were in high spirits, and their styles were different. The mysterious heaven sect disciples who joined Chunyang Palace were a little depressed, but after learning about some of the incentive and contribution mechanisms inside Chunyang Palace, they began to cheer up slowly. Who could have thought that such a small sect, which they used to think could not be seen at all, would have such strong financial resources? Compared with their mysterious heaven sect, it was not inferior at all, and even surpassed them in some aspects. The most obvious was in terms of elixirs. With the elixirs refined by Yang Chun and Mo Chunmei, even the mysterious heaven sect could not catch up with them. These elixirs were sky-high prices outside. Inside Chunyang Palace, they could be exchanged with the contribution of the sect that was much cheaper than the actual value. In addition, in terms of refining, going to the core mountain gate to gain experience, and the monthly routine of the disciples, they were not inferior to the mysterious heaven sect. It could be said that joining Chunyang Palace did not make them feel that they had to live a hard life in the future. On the contrary, it seemed that they had directly entered a rich family, and their lives were much better out of thin air. Seeing the dilapidated site restored little by little to the beautiful scenery, the disciples of Chunyang Palace were indescribably satisfied. When they went out, they even straightened their chests a lot. While Chunyang Palace was building the sect, the major sect secretly investigated the disciples who were controlled by the Great Freedom Devil Heart Sutra, and they had preliminary results. Although it was just a simple investigation, the results of the investigation still made the senior members of the major sect break out in a cold sweat. In some key positions in their own sect, many disciples had been secretly controlled. Although the proportion was not very large, once these controlled disciples broke out at some critical moment, it would definitely be a fatal blow to the major sect. Even the affiliated sect was no exception. The masters of some affiliated sect were even quietly controlled, and they did not know when they had been controlled. After a preliminary investigation, the number of people who had been secretly controlled by Yang Lan for hundreds of years and thousands of years added up to nearly 10,000. What kind of concept was this? According to this development, there was no need to wait for the Zhao family to take action. As long as Yang Lan maintained such a situation, the entire spiritual world would no longer be the world of the major sect. At this time, all parties began to seriously consider the culprit of the destruction of Immortal Taishaman explained by the mysterious heaven sect. According to the evidence at hand, it was indeed Yang Lan who was the most suspicious, and the possibility of the young master Li Liheng, was the least. Why would the young master of the Taishaman take the risk of losing his reputation to practice this kind of demonic art that harmed others for his own benefit? It was not that he could be the master of the sect if he was anxious to improve his cultivation. As long as he practiced step by step, when the time came, Master Li would naturally ascend and leave the Taishaman to Li Liheng. Since Li Liheng had no reason to practice the Great Freedom Devil Heart Sutra in terms of motivation, then everything was Yang Lan's conspiracy. Considering the relationship between Yang Lan and the Zhao family, and the Zhao family's rescue after Yang Lan was exposed, it was certain that everything was done by the Zhao family behind scenes. The grievances of the mortal Taishaman were finally revealed after the dissolution of the mysterious Heaven sect in the spiritual world. It was not known what the mysterious Heaven sect in the immortal world would think after knowing this. However, Yang Chun, the original initiator, could already smile in his dreams. Chapter 23:19. With the dissolution of the Shintian sect, Yang Chun did not feel the same feeling of hatred that he had when the Taishaman were exterminated last time. Maybe this was related to Sect Master Li. After all, Yang Chun and Sect Master Li also got along for a while. In any case, Sect Master Li still did his best to give Yang Chun all kinds of benefits. In this way, the Shintian sect was dissolved peacefully and Yang Chun was achieved. Yang Chun had more or less gotten back some of the interest of his previous master who was forced to commit suicide by the Shintian sect. The major sect was still secretly investigating the puppets controlled by Yang Lan on a large scale, but Yang Chun had already begun to think about the decisive battle with the Zhao family. After Zhou Sheng's self-destruction, Yang Chun clearly knew that the two dragon masters who could fight with Zhou Sheng did not suffer much loss in the self-destruction of the great principal Golden Immortal. This made Yang Chun very interested in the protective magic weapon they had. What kind of protective magic weapon in the spiritual world could 100% prevent the self-destruction of the great principal Golden Immortal? At least, Yang Chun only knew two. One was the Mountain River geographical map, and the other was the unknown magic weapon owned by the two dragons. Maybe Yang Chun's golden body secret art and the dragon golden bell could also resist it, but at that time, Yang Chun did not take the risk, so he could not guarantee 100% protection. Even the protective magic weapon refined by the golden immortals of the Zhao family in the spiritual world could only play a certain protective role if there was a sufficient distance, and those golden immortal masters were seriously injured. Big brother, what kind of magic weapon do you think the two dragon masters used? Yang Chun was now discussing this issue with Big Brother Li Cheng. Lin Jingyuan, Ao Lan, Ao Lai, and Long Quang had all seen the power of Zhou Sheng's self-destruction. At least they themselves did not have the ability to withstand Zhou Sheng's self-destruction. They did not know much about this, so Yang Chun still had to ask Big Brother Li Cheng. If I'm not mistaken, I'm afraid it's the same nature as a Ling's Mountain River geographical map. Li Cheng didn't say anything definite, but just gave a general guess. Big Brother Li Cheng was considered a personal disciple of the Tao ancestor, so he definitely knew more than everyone else. Since he said so, there was at least a 50% chance that it was true. Thinking about it, it was normal. In the spirit world, where the spiritual pressure and cultivation level were lower than in the immortal world, there was really no reliable way to resist the self-destruction of a great, overarching golden immortal. Even if it was a core sect-level cave abode, it would probably be blown into pieces. Only a world-class magical treasure like the Mountain River geographical map could resist that kind of violent power. One had to know that the two Dragon Clan experts were even closer to Zhou Sheng than Yang Chun and the others. They were practically right next to him. To be able to come out unscathed in that kind of situation, this was probably the only possibility. Could the Zhao family be relying on those two dragons to refine the demon realm? Yang Chun raised this question and waited for everyone's suggestions. I'm afraid so. Others didn't dare to say, but Big Brother Li Cheng felt that the possibility was very high. I will set off now and enter the demon realm to see how far they have refined. Although Big Brother Li Cheng knew a lot, he didn't know everything, so he still needed to verify it. In this regard, neither Yang Chun nor the women stopped him. If he wanted to defeat the Zhao family, he probably had to know their progress first before he could make targeted arrangements. What should I do these days? Yang Chun asked big brother Li Cheng very seriously. Everyone also looked at Li Cheng eagerly. Although Li Cheng basically didn't make a move, everyone still regarded him as the backbone. Continue to cultivate. Big brother Li Cheng smiled and said, there is no harm in having a high cultivation. This was the truth, but it was equivalent to not saying it. At least Yang Chun gave big brother Li Cheng a big eye roll. If possible, try to refine the Immortal's cave left behind by Madame Bai. Li Cheng's words were the real advice. Try to let the mountain river geographical map have the heavenly tribulation of the spiritual realm, so that the cultivators inside can improve their realm normally. Although the mountain river geographical map had the heavenly tribulation, it was only the heavenly tribulation of the mortal world, not the spiritual realm. Therefore, the vast majority of the cultivators in the spiritual realm, other than those who had experienced the heavenly tribulation before and were collected into the mountain river geographical map, the cultivators who ascended from a mortal world did not experience the worldly immortal tribulation or earthly immortal tribulation. Although these cultivators could come out of the mountain river geographical map to accept the heavenly tribulation, the number of cultivators inside was too large. Especially after the refinement of the demon realm, the strength of those demonized demon beasts were strong. There were more than hundreds of millions of demon beasts that surpassed the earthly immortal level. If they were all released, it would definitely make the entire spiritual realm face a great enemy. Hearing big brother Li Cheng's suggestion, the eyes of everyone who had experienced the heavenly tribulation last time lit up. No matter who it was, they could get huge benefits from the baptism of the heavenly tribulation. That kind of enthusiasm caused Long Quang to be in a daze. He didn't know why everyone was so fanatical. Don't let your guard down. Be prepared, otherwise all your previous efforts will be wasted. Li Cheng naturally saw everyone's enthusiasm. At this time, he had no choice but to pour cold water on everyone. Absorbing the heavenly tribulation was not an easy task. The overwhelming scene was still fresh in everyone's memory. At that time, it was only the heavenly tribulation of the mortal world. It even caused the spiritual power in the mountain river geographical map to be insufficient. In the end, they could only rely on Yang Chun to forcibly open the door of the immortal beheading stage and draw in the spiritual power of the immortal world. This time, to absorb the heavenly tribulation immortal cave, I'm afraid I have to follow the book and do it again. It was very dangerous, but if it could be successful, not to mention anything else, just the cultivation realm of the cultivators in the spiritual realm would be enough to increase the power of the mountain river geographical map. Especially when the enemy's magic treasure may be the immortal cave of the demon realm. The demon realm cultivators were generally one realm higher than the demon realm. In order to win, this kind of improvement was necessary. Before that, Yang Chun had to help his friends improve their cultivation. Before, the head of the palace and several core high-level members had already gotten the Tianyuan pill, but the old tree demon, Ho Yun, Shi Kuei, and Xie Sha, who had been with Yang Chun since the beginning of the mortal world, had not gotten it because they were out. Chunyang Palace took over the territory of the profound heaven sect. Such a big thing, these guys naturally all ran back. Of course, Yang Chun would not favor one and discriminate against the other. Everyone would definitely be treated equally. Although the Tianyuan pill was good, one person could only use 2 at most. The Rare Dragon clan could use 1 or 2 more, so the Tianyuan pills in Yang Chen's hand were of no use to him. In this case, why not give good things to your own relatives and friends? Do you want to keep them for outsiders? The old tree demon, Ho Yun, Shi Kuei, Xie Sha, Lan Ning, Fatty Jing, Elder Wu Xiong, as well as the former Shangwan Feng, Du Qian, Wang Yuan, and others, Yang Chun gave 1 Tianyuan pill to each of them. Chapter 23:20. There were friends, and Yang Chen's own apprentices were no exception. Several apprentices each had 1 according to their different attributes. After a batch was distributed, Yang Chun directly took out half of the remaining Heaven Essence pills as the highest level reward in Chunyang Palace. which required a very high contribution to the sect. When they got the Heaven Essence pill, everyone was confused and did not know what this pill was for. Yang Chun did not hide it and directly explained the origin of the Heaven Essence pill to everyone. As soon as they heard it, everyone was suddenly surprised. The life essence of a 10,000 tribulation true immortal was obtained by Yang Chun from the immortal beheading stage. Just thinking about it made people tremble. Looking at the pill that seemed to have no head, everyone could hardly suppress their nervousness. It was so easy to get in touch with the aura of a true immortal and even slowly accept the cultivation inheritance of a true immortal. If this was spread out, it would be like listening to a book from heaven. No one will believe it. However, everyone believed it because the rapid improvement of the cultivation of Yang Chen's family and the palace master had already told everyone that this was an ironclad fact. For Yang Chen to give them such a big gift, everyone had already been like A.O. Lan and did not regard it as a favor or cause or effect. Anyway, everyone was already tied to Yang Chen. Yang Chen's affairs were everyone's affairs. There was no distinction between them. Why should they care so much? After distributing the Heaven Essence pills, Yang Chen did not forget to bring these close friends to the Mountain River geographical map. Next, he would refine the Heaven Calamity Cave. There would be many benefits, so he could not let outsiders benefit. The spiritual realm was still digesting the news of the Xiantian sect's dissolution. The whole thing was still lingering. The major sects were secretly investigating the puppets that were being controlled, and they had already found about 15,000 of them. They were just waiting for an order to eliminate all of these puppets. At this time, they obviously could not act rashly to avoid being discovered by Yang Lan in advance. Every puppet that was discovered had an expert who was responsible for carrying out the task of eliminating them. However, no one would notice this, including the puppets themselves. If the major sects really wanted to do things seriously, they would still have a very high efficiency. He could see some clues from the matter of dealing with the puppets. The women who returned to their respective sects stayed in their respective sect for a period of time. After finishing the matters in the sect, they returned to Yang Chen's side one after another. However, this time, they didn't go back to Linyang River. Instead, they went straight to the original Xintian Gate, which was now the gate of Chunyang Palace. When the girls returned to their respective sect, they were also shocked by their respective masters. He had only been in seclusion with Yang Chen for more than 600 years, and he had jumped from the Earth Immortal level to the Xian Immortal level. His cultivation level had increased like a demon. Even though the aptitudes of these girls were already very outstanding, the speed at which their cultivation increased was simply too fast. It was so fast that even their masters were a little worried. This question was answered by the secret technique that their husbands obtained from the immortal beheading platform. Anyway, no one knew what Yang Chen had obtained from the immortal beheading platform, and it was impossible for them to know. No one would doubt anything, and no one could doubt anything. In any case, it was always a good thing to have so many experts, and all parties were very happy. From the disaster of the Xintian Gate, all parties also learned a lesson. The first was the place where the dwelling divine jade was kept. All parties were heavily guarded, and all the guards were carefully inspected. They must not let the Zhao family's spies or Yanglan's puppets mix in. It must be known that the reason why the Xintian sect had a disaster this time was because there was a puppet of Yanglan in the important place where the dwelling god jade was kept. Therefore, the Zhao family broke through and destroyed all the dwelling god jade. Of course, the sect could not follow the footsteps of the Xintian Gate. Big Brother Li Cheng had already set off to the demon realm to inquire about the news. The girls were now cultivating in the Dragon Palace. What Yang Chen wanted to know the most was the situation of the two dragon race experts. At this moment, he was asking A.O. Lan and Long Quang, "Big sister, you check the aura of those two dragon race experts clearly. Is it that traitor of your dragon race?" In the past, A.O. Lan had long said that the dragon race expert of the Zhao clan was a traitor. This time, she had come into close contact with him and was more certain. One of them is him. A.O. Lan did not have anything to hide from Yang Chen. She quickly replied, "That would attributed one is him. Based on his cultivation, he should already be slightly stronger than me." Big sister Ao Lan was already a peak golden immortal. Although that fellow had not reached Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, he was slightly stronger than Ao Lan. He was not someone to be underestimated. Furthermore, there was another Earth-attributed dragon race expert of similar cultivation. When the two of them worked together, they could already contend against the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal. No wonder Zhou Sheng suffered such a huge loss in the end and had no choice but to self-detonate. He was forced into a corner. However, didn't they say that there was only one traitor of the dragon race? Where did that Earth-attributed expert come from? This was also something that Ao Lan could not understand. A long time ago, when they were exterminating the Tri-River Alliance, they learned from the captives that the Zhao clan had two dragon race experts. It was just that no one knew where the second dragon race expert came from. Did you guys realize that the aura of that Earth-attributed dragon race expert is somewhat familiar? Long Quang was also in the battle this time. He could feel it very clearly. At this moment, he suddenly asked, "How familiar?" Yangshan did not notice this and immediately turned to ask Long Quang. Ao Lan was also confused as she waited for Long Quang's reply. A very familiar feeling. Long Quang himself seemed to be unable to determine how familiar it was. It's as if that person is me. Don't you guys think it's strange? Not only did Long Quang's words not make everyone feel relieved, it instead made them even more confused. What do you mean by yourself? Isn't Long Quang himself standing on this side? Where did the other him come from? Ao Lai also frowned. Now that Long Quang said this, she seemed to have a vague memory of it. It seemed like this was really the case. However, there was no way to explain the reason for this strange feeling. Just as everyone was thinking about what kind of strange feeling this was, the Murong sisters, Murong Yin, who was listening at the side, suddenly asked, "An Earth-attributed dragon race expert? Wasn't the dragon puppet also of the Earth attribute back then?" This sentence reminded everyone. Everyone's attention was focused on Long Quang. Long Quang's current body was the dragon puppet from back then. He felt that it was his own body. Could it be the dragon spirit of the dragon puppet from back then? Yes, that's the feeling. Long Quang was also enlightened and thought through many things. Maybe it's the original owner of this body. Chapter 23-21. Although this was the closest possibility to the truth, it made it even more difficult for people to understand the Zhao family's dragon clan expert. He was able to refine the body of his own clan into a puppet to act as the core of the ceiling formation, but he also left behind the dragon spirit of his own clan. Furthermore, this dragon spirit even fought for him. This was really inexplicable. Could it be like us? Ao Lai opened his mouth at the right time, pointing at himself and Long Quang. Ao Lai and Long Quang had a common characteristic, and that was that their current bodies were not their own. Ao Lai's body was Long Quang's original body, while Long Quang's body was a dragon puppet. It was his own dragon spirit that occupied someone else's body. Now that he mentioned it, it was possible. If Yangshan could make Ao Lai and Long Quang occupy other people's bodies, then the Zhao family's dragon clan experts could do the same. It was not something to make a fuss about. In this way, things would be interesting. The dragon clan of the spirit world was already scarce in number, but there were still 3 of them who played this kind of trick. It sounded inconceivable. Whether it was Ao Lai or Long Quang, they all happened to meet at the right time, which was why they made the move to possess others. However, no one knew what was going on with the Zhao family's dragon clan. However, one thing was certain. If it wasn't for the great benefits, who would be willing to abandon their original body and possess a strange body that didn't belong to them? Perhaps the real answer would only be known when they faced the 2 experts of the Zhao family dragon clan. Now that everyone was guessing, it was nothing more than their imaginations. For some reason, after so many years, those sect that had already lost golden immortals from the lower realms actually didn't send any more experts down. Even after Lin Zhongshuan's death, the immortal world's mysterious heaven sect didn't send any experts down. Did the higher-ups really think that they could rely on the power of the spirit world to pacify the Zhao family? With these questions in mind, Yangshan's family began to prepare to refine the tomb where Madame Bai used to live. Just as Big Brother Li Cheng had said, in the end, all conspiracies still depended on one's strength. When one's cultivation was raised to the point where one wouldn't be afraid of any conspiracies, even if the enemy had any tricks, it would only cause one more twists and turns. It was very easy for Gong Sunling and her third primordial spirit to refine a cave abode. They had already refined the demon realm and created a world of their own. Refining a cave abode as large as Madame Bai's tomb was a piece of cake. It was the heavenly tribulation inside that made things difficult. There was another problem. If Yangchun and the others were to go through the heaven immortal tribulation directly, they would probably need to ascend immediately. The way of heaven in the mountain river geographical map was different from the way of heaven outside. In order to ensure fairness, one could not stay after crossing the tribulation. Before the heavenly tribulation formed the spatial barrier, people like Lin Jingyuan, Madame Bai, Zhou Xianying, and the others who had passed the tribulation could still stay in the spiritual world of the mountain river geographical map. But once the spatial barrier formed, they could only stay in the immortal world. Fortunately, even if they ascended, they would still be in the mountain river geographical map. The only problem was that the immortal world of the mountain river geographical map was still just an array map, and there was no real space. However, this was not a big problem for the third primordial spirit and Gong Sunling. They just needed to send a part of the refined cave abode to the immortal world of the mountain river geographical map. Moreover, there was a ready-made cave abode in the immortal world. Madame Bai's tomb could be used as the immortal world of the mountain river geographical map. People were in different layers in the mountain river geographical map, but as long as they came out, they would still stay in the real spiritual world. This was not a problem for everyone. As for how to stay in the spiritual world after crossing the heaven immortal tribulation in the mountain river geographical map, it was not a big problem. Not to mention the current state of Madame Bai, Lin Jingyuan, and Zhou Xianying, there were many masters from the major sect and the Zhao family in the mortal world. As long as it was arranged in advance, everything was very simple. The tomb had long been the mountain river geographical map, but Gong Sunling and the third primordial spirit had not touched it. There was no difficulty in starting to refine it now. The cave abode began to merge with the surrounding space in front of everyone's eyes, and there was no distinction between them. In a few days, the tomb was refined to the core part of the heaven's tribulation. In addition to those who had experienced it last time, others such as the old tree demon Ho Yun and the apprentices of Yang Chun, plus Long Quang, had already occupied a good position according to the arrangement of Yang Chun and Gong Sunling, quietly waiting for the baptism of the powerful heaven's tribulation. Of course, this kind of good thing could not be forgotten to the core high-level members of the Chunyang Palace. The palace master and several elders, as well as the loyal masters who were responsible for protecting them, also secretly entered the mountain river geographical map. Even the Earth Dragon was no exception. He was now just a quasi-great principal golden immortal in the state of not facing the tribulation. Although there was no golden immortal tribulation in the tomb to make him directly become a great principal golden immortal, there was a Xian immortal tribulation, which could at least make him a real golden immortal master. Of course, the more people enjoyed it, the better it was. Those loyal disciples of the Chunyang Palace basically had to be taken care of. However, they did not enter the mountain river geographical map, but relied on the Earth Dragon to indirectly feel the heavens tribulation. Including the new disciples of the mysterious heaven sect who joined the Chunyang Palace, they could also enjoy this benefit. However, they also passed through the Earth Dragon, and it was not in the real core cave abode, but in one of the caves in the belly of the Earth Dragon. These original disciples of the mysterious heaven sect were in a low mood at this moment. Letting them enjoy such powerful benefits in the quasi-core cave abode of the sect could also make them have a lot more confidence in the Chunyang Palace. The disciples of the Chunyang Palace were experiencing the heavens tribulation, and the Earth Dragon was the key. Not only did he have to control the heavens tribulation, but he also had to take care of the disciples in the cave abode in his belly, so that there would be no major damage. Before this, Yangshin had warned those relatives and friends who had not experienced the last experience not to worry about anything they saw, as long as they did their best. When they really couldn't hold on, they should send out a certain kind of specific information and play a specific magic art. They should not force themselves. As long as this magic art was found, the third primordial spirit would transfer the heaven's tribulation that fell on their heads to other places so that it would not hurt them. For fear that some of them, like Ho Yun or Mu Bo, would be stubborn and insist, Yangshan warned them very seriously that they should do what they could and not force themselves. Of course, it did not mean that there was no way to continue to get benefits if they couldn't hold on. Yangshan asked everyone to prepare in advance the magic weapons that needed to be sacrificially refined for a long time. There was nothing more effective than sacrificially refining magic weapons in the heaven's tribulation. Similarly, the disciples who entered the core cave abode of the Chunyang Palace were also warned. Although almost all the disciples were baffled, everyone still followed the instructions given by their superiors and made all the necessary preparations, based on their trust in the sect.